us in, babe.
Welcome to
Coco
Caliente. Well, the finale was last night.
And it was honestly tough to watch.
Yeah, I cried a little.
It's just like you see, being able to see it, right, reflecting back and like, wow, had we just made this little adjustment or changed.
Just switched detours sooner or picked no instead of row. Up to this point, though, you were like, you're so muscly that we thrived at like the muscle versus the brain thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're actually pretty both intelligent, so we should have just switched. But it's hard when so in our defense, also, we put in like 2 hours of work on those boats, and we saw everyone switching, and we're like, we don't want to give up.
Yeah, it's a sense of like, I don't want to quit, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a quitter, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we started this, and we can do it. Like, we can get through it.
Yeah.
So why leave now? And we've already committed so much time. When in hindsight, you should be thinking, wow, I've wasted so much time.
Yeah.
And now Colin and Christy are getting here for the first time. They're going to have a hard time doing it.
Mm-hmm. We should have switched then at
and
the very
Tyler
latest.
And Korey, Tyler and Korey were still there too. It's not like they left. They left a little bit after, Colin and Christy got there, which if we would have done it right away.
You never know. Like the market, we could have got lost and whatever. You never know, but we would have had a better fighting chance with the lead that we had.
And you made a good point about, to me, about Leo being afraid of water.
Yeah, that helped him.
And how that helped him.
Because they didn't even waste any time. He doesn't like to put his feet in the water. He doesn't like to swim. I don't know if he can swim. Or I remember when he went to like jumping off of the canyon thing.
In Laos, the waterfalls.
The waterfall. He wouldn't get in the water or anything. So that helped him because everyone picked the boat challenge first. And then they're just like, nope, let's get out of here.
Yeah, he didn't even flip once. They half paddled for 2 seconds, and he was like, nope, that's not for me.
Yeah, dang it. And I mean, it was a great ending and everything, but it's freaking hard to watch. It was just really hard. Like, I wanted to cry.
Hey, and we saw this at the finale party with everybody here in Dallas, in which, big ups and shout out to Travelocity for being able to put that together. I mean, it was just an amazing turnout, and everybody was so great. It was nice seeing everybody.
It was really good. It was way better than I even anticipated it could be.
Yeah, there was just so much love in the air, and once the race, it's been over for a year, and it felt like, watching it last night, it felt like it just happened.
Yeah.
But just seeing everybody come together and everybody being so lovey and huggy. I was telling Nicole there was a lot of hugs and cheek kisses last night. Everybody was just all in that, happy-go-lucky. We're not competing against each other. It's over and done. And we can enjoy this moment with each other, which is, really, really awesome.
Yeah, and somehow the Amazing Race took a bigger toll on me than Big Brother.
Yeah?
And I was talking to other, Survivor and Big Brother players, and they kind of felt the same, that it's shorter, but like you dwell on it more. It's been a year and I'm still dwelling, like, because I think I know what we went through. Like, it didn't even show everything on the show.
Yeah.
Everything we went through, and it was so hard. And I just literally thought we could make it to the final 3.
Yeah.
And all you had to do is make it to the final 3. You don't need to win any leg of the race, and that's kind of what I wanted.
Yeah, and that's not to say that, we would have won the whole thing.
No,
but
no.
Just to be able to make it there and have that chance at it, right?
Yeah, you just want the chance at it. If you can just guarantee yourself in the final 3, almost like guarantee yourself at the end of Big Brother to give a speech and to say why you should win. If you don't get there, then
there's
you
no
can't.
shot.
Exactly. So I think just being in the final 3 would have just been so cool. Not that I think we could have won. I mean, I would have had to do the lock challenge. Yeah. Who knows? But
and speaking of what you were saying, like, I remember after I did Big Brother, I had met people from Survivor, and I always thought Survivor would be far more difficult than anything.
Yeah.
There was nobody ever shoots that one down like, oh, that's, not hard. But when I met racers in the past, I was like, well, Big Brother is definitely harder, without doing it. Like, yeah, we're in the house for 3 months, what I mean? There's nothing like that that can compare. And now having done the race, I'm like, not a shot.
No.
Like, it's like people say the psychological aspect of being locked up in a house for 3 months, yeah, that's tough. But once you're in there for the first month, you get used to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You have friends.
And you have friends, and you can hang out. There's not a lot of stress during the week. I mean, unless because you're not even on the block or anything until later, right? So it's just one of those things that in the race, it's like high intensity, high level. Like even when you get to the mat and you're done, you're with your partner in the room. Where are we going next? What mistakes did we do?
Yeah.
We should have did this. Why didn't we do that? All right, now for the next leg, we got to do this. And
yeah, because even on Big Brother, if you're on the block, like you come to, you have the veto in a couple days.
Yeah.
So you're already working your game. And then you say you don't win the veto. Then you're working the person trying to get them to use the veto. Okay, that doesn't happen. And now I have a couple days to try to, sway votes. And if I can't sway votes, I have 4 days to come to the realization of I'm going home.
And
this is, you don't know where you're going to be at that mat.
Yeah.
The whole time.
And mind you, all those things that she's talking about in Big Brother is only for 2 people.
Yeah.
It's not for every single person that's racing. Right. So it's not like, oh, I'm safe this week. My friend is HOH.
Exactly.
No way I'm going on the block.
Like in 18, I didn't sit on the block until like final 4.
Yeah.
And so I didn't freaking stress about going home the entire time. Whereas on the race, I was stressed about going home
anytime.
And I think also Victor is the best partner, and it looks like he does a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong. He does so much.
You're a great partner, too.
And, I don't want to let him down because the little tiny things that I would have to do, it just puts that pressure on me. It's like, oh, my God, I know Vic would be better at this, but I have to do it. So on our season of The Amazing Race, Vic would have been topped out at 6 roadblocks.
Yeah.
I only did 5. And so I would have had to do the lock challenge.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, there's 12, and you have to divide them evenly.
Yeah, but I've actually on season 30, when Jess and Cody won, I'm pretty sure Cody did 6 and Jess only had to do 3.
Because they didn't know how many were going to be, right? There was less. There was less competitions like that.
So I was thinking, oh my God, if Vic could do
all
6 and I only had to do 3, that would be really good because anything Vic does, he excels at. But yeah, so in the finale, I would have had to do the whole lock thing, and that would have been a bit stressful. So who knows how that would have gone.
And for us, so we got out in London, right? And it was tough for us because it just so happens the way things were set up, we had to get on the same flight as all the other racers that were still in the race. So just the double beat down for us, we got out and we slept on the hotel, and now in that morning we're sitting in the airport with people that are going to race that day.
Yeah.
And then we have to see them get on the plane, and then when we land in Detroit, which sucks already because, we live in Michigan.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to run that leg there like Tyler and Korey did. We have to scuttle out of the airport fast so they don't catch us on camera because they're about to start their leg of the race.
They're all such great teams. We're so happy to have made it as far as we did, and it's crazy because you really think wow, we did really, really good. But when it comes to placement, you're just kind of bummed.
Yeah.
So I have been searching for a really good deodorant that's all natural and vegan and something that's good for my body. And I've tried a couple, and my favorite is Myro. And now Victor is also using it too.
Yeah, it's actually really nice. It's they're changing the game in terms of how deodorants come. And this is it's just nice because it's reusable in the sense of you get this little deodorant packet.
Yeah,
right?
You have to pick from 5 colors of a container, and there's also 5 different scents. They're unisex, so this would have been perfect for Victor and I on the race because I made him go with a girl deodorant where we would just take one of these Myro deodorants, and it's unisex. And so there's scents you can choose from. And why I love it so much too, I'm sorry I'm over talking you, but I just love it, is because it helps the planet. It reduces waste of plastic by 50% because they're not sending you a whole entire plastic deodorant every time. It's a refill. You put it in yourself.
And they have, I have the Big Dipper scent, but they have Big Dipper, Pillow Talk, Solar Flare, Chill Wave and cabin number 5.
Yeah, so they're not just like basic like powder fresh scents, which I don't like powder fresh. So these like it almost makes you smell like you're wearing like kind of like cologne too, Vic. Like a good scent. And it's good for your body.
They're aloe based, the formula is. So it's like soothing, comfortable glide, bacteria neutralizing citrus and probiotics. And it smells really awesome, honestly.
They're vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, cruelty-free. And I just love how much it helps the planet. And there's different colors that you can pick. Vic, yours is royal. So yours is like the color royal. But after 30 days, you'll receive a 3 deodorant pod refill every 3 months, delivered straight to your door. Convenient. You can put that on pause. You can stop. You can do whatever you need to do while doing it. And we have a really special offer. So they're saying that you can get a $10 starter kit for 30 days. We can give that to you for $5.
Yeah, 50% off if you use our code. So you get 50% off your first order and get started today for just $5. Just visit mymyro, mymyro.com/Coco and use promo code Coco.
Tell us how much you love this stuff. Let's help the planet. And I mean, we can share deodorant with your significant other.
Yeah, literally. Again, that's so 50% off your first order. Get started today for just $5. Visit mymyro.com/Coco and use promo code Coco.
And Myro is spelled MYRO, just in case, because I wouldn't know how to spell it.
Okay, so, first things first. No non-race teams, meaning only amazing race teams, got first place. The entire, that says
crazy.
something.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. And there was only 4 because Art and JJ got out, the first leg. So 4 teams took the next, how many legs were there? 11 legs?
Yeah, and out of the last 5 teams, 4 teams were amazing race teams, and then me and Nicole. So, I mean, that just, the testament of having raced before and having that edge, it is a benefit, and you're tried and tested, right? You're tried and tested. You know what to expect. You know how to stay calm under pressure. And it's just one of those things. But I am proud of Nicole and I to be able to make it that far. So proud of Nicole to be able to push through, because you're a very emotional person and you were able to keep your composure in some really tough situations.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it. Just like watching back, I'm like, oh my gosh. Because even memorizing the taxi stuff from last night, I think I remembered the first half and you remembered the second half.
Yeah.
But trying to memorize that while you're like, oh my gosh, like this is, we don't know where the other teams are. It adds so much stress, and I can't believe we actually got it on our 4th try. I felt like it took us like 10 tries, but
that cab ride, that was a blur. Just because
it was.
I mean, especially you run it the first time, and no way you're going to memorize 22 different
we didn't even know how many they were going to say.
Yeah, we didn't know it was 22.
Yeah, so I think the first ride was a waste because we were in awe and shock and like, oh my gosh. And then
it was exactly like Leo and Jamal when they showed it. We're like, what? No, what is it? I can't remember. What is it? How do you, Nicole? Like, how can you even pronounce that?
Oh man! But anyway, so we are going to have the Amazing Race winners.
Yes.
On today's podcast,
Colin and Christy, amazing people, beautiful couple,
so deserving.
Yeah.
They literally kicked butt the entire race.
Yeah, we'll talk to them. We'll get deep into their background and everything, and we just hope you guys enjoy. So we have some amazing, extremely calm, and the winners of this season, 31 of the Amazing Race, Colin and Christy. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We're so excited to be on.
Yeah, seriously. Thank you guys so much.
The Coco Caliente podcast.
Coco Caliente!
Yeah.
I love it.
And before we get into it was emotional that last episode. Before we get into that, I want to just go back to Colin and Christy before they were Colin and Christy, when they were just Colin and just Christy. Who were you guys before it all even started? Like, what were you doing? I guess I'll start with you, Colin.
Before we met?
Before you met, yeah.
Yeah, grew up on the coast, surfer, sailor, I was in the water a bunch, and, I think into all the extreme sports, kind of an adrenaline junkie.
Where'd you live?
Padre Island.
Padre Island.
Yeah, South Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so hometown Texas, where we're at right now.
That's right.
Dallas. Okay.
That's right.
And you just grew up there, and then were you living in Texas too, Christy?
I grew up in East Texas. So if you're from Texas, you kind of say there's 5 different regions of Texas. So if you're from Texas, he's from South Texas. I'm from East Texas. There's a whole understanding that goes with that.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
They're in a different time zone. You have to set your clock back 100 years.
Are they really in a different time zone?
You can tell Nicole anything, so just be careful with that.
Yeah. So just more deep south part of Texas, and really good people, and so that's where I'm from, and we met at the University of Texas in Austin.
Oh, okay.
So I had been Miss Teen USA in 1996, graduated high school early, and went to college, won Miss Teen USA, took a break, moved to LA, and I was doing acting, modeling, commercials. I did a television series called The New Adventures of Robin Hood.
Oh,
that came on TNT.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
And
wait, so did you see like the Men in Tights and they did all that stuff?
Yes, but it was a different kind of series. It was kind of a Xena Hercules, if you guys are familiar, very tongue-in-cheek type episode. And Rowena was a sorcerer's apprentice, so she was a witch, and she was learning her magic, and she would always get things wrong, and Robin Hood would have to come, and his merry men would save the day, and so every once in a while I would save the day for them.
That sounds like a fun little adventure.
That was, going from small town East Texas to, we filmed that in Vilnius, Lithuania.
Oh, wow. Random.
So after Miss Teen USA, which took me out of Texas and seeing the world, and then moving to LA, and then living half of the year in Europe, Eastern Europe, and then traveling around there when I wasn't working, just that really opened my eyes to a world, perspective, exactly. And really changed who I was as a person.
Wow. So you're doing that, and then you go. So you did that, and then came back to the university?
I did. I decided to go back to school. So I'd gone my first 2 years to college, and I always knew I would go back, and decided I would, and I wanted to go to the University of Texas in Austin. And so I was a little bit older since I had taken a break, and was going back to school with the youngins. And that's how I got my young hottie over here. We met in communications class.
Oh, really?
That's so cool.
He had hair as long as yours was on the race.
No way.
Surfer dude.
Was he tan as like leather?
Yes. Didn't own a pair of jeans, wore corduroys so that he could ride his trials bike and cardboard all over campus. All the teachers knew him. I mean, he was infamous. And he would sit on the front row of every class we were in. He was the only one who brought computers to class in those days.
Still a technology person, huh?
Oh,
Totally.
Yeah. I've always been a geek at heart, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He took notes really well, you could tell, and he was so funny. Every time he would make a comment that he thought was extra clever, he'd turn and look at me, and
she was like 30 rows back, in these massive auditoriums, and then everyone between us is like, "Who's he looking at?" And they would all look at her, and she's like, "Oh my god,
I don't know
this
him.
guy?"
We're not together.
Was that like just like flirting, or were you guys
Yes.
Okay, so you guys weren't like a
I was
couple or
stalking
thing
my
at
prey.
that? Okay.
That's how you plant the seed.
That's right.
And so, like, how fitting that you guys met in communications class, because you guys are such great communicators, and we'll get to that later. But I just think the irony of that.
That is kind of ironic. Yeah.
And so, like, who made the first move? I guess you kind of. With the
She
staring.
was definitely not going to be making a move on some surfer kid. So they actually, her best friend and her, I guess, wanted my notes for class. And normally people would come up and ask me, "Hey, can I get the notes? Because I can see you're typing a bunch of notes." And I would just say, email me, put in the subject line what course we're in. That's all you need to do. I'll reply with the Word doc, whatever.
You were the guy.
That's nice.
And but when she came up, her friend came up and asked for the notes. I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, no problem. What's your number? I'll give you a call. I'll print them out. You guys come on over. We'll go through the notes together." Anyways, what's your number? Yeah, great. Okay, I'll give you a call. Okay, see you later. And she was like, what? Because I was like, that's my in.
She came back to me. She said, well, I've got good news and bad news. Because she originally wanted me to ask
What
for the
they thought
notes.
was bad news.
Yeah. Of course. Anyway, so yeah, the good news is we get his notes. Bad news, we're in a study group with him. So now that's what we're doing for the rest of the semester. And we really got to know each other at a deeper friendship level. Yeah. But he was, for a good 9 months, stuck in the friend zone.
Man, I was stuck in the friend zone.
Were you frustrated?
You can get out of the friend zone. It's possible. It can be done. It's like a really tough roadblock. You know? And it feels impossible, but if you just keep sticking to it, you can break through.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was stuck in the friend zone.
You were stuck in the friend zone
for a year.
There you go. That's right. Yeah.
Same. Hey, that's a very similar experience we all had.
That's right.
And it's something about becoming a friend, right? And like a confidant and be able to talk about things. Like, you know, I tell people all the time, Nicole and I, we would talk about our respective relationships at the time that I was in and she was in. And so then to come full circle and be in a relationship, I mean, you just know that person on a deeper level.
That's right. Yeah. From at least other perspectives.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you get a more whole picture.
I was nursing a broken heart, which is probably the biggest reason I wasn't open to jumping into a relationship. And so he was really there for me in that way. And I remember, though, he figured out how to get out of the friend zone. One day, he knew my class schedule because we were good friends, and he knew when I would be coming out of this specific class. So he and a friend had made plans that they were going to be riding their trials bike around campus, shirtless, hair pulled back, hot and sweaty. And I'm walking to the campus bus on the phone, talking to a girlfriend of mine, complaining about the guy I was dating at the time. And faster than you can imagine, there is a bicycle wheel in between my legs and a face about 1 inch from me. Hi, how you doing? And he just had these bright green eyes, and his muscles were glistening, and I saw those last night. That heat that had been missing before, and I felt it, and I was not usually at a loss for words in those days, kind of overconfident, and I was kind of stunned, and I looked at him and I just said, "Oh, I didn't know you had all that going on."
Word for word. That's I was like, oh, okay, finally. That's what we're looking for.
Let's ride around for a while. Let's get really sweaty so we can listen.
Right. And get these muscles pumped up.
I didn't know I was that shallow, but apparently but I knew him at a deeper level as well. So it was just sort of like, wow, we have all of this in common, that we're both friends, and now there's an attraction. And so I canceled the date I had that Friday because I was thinking, I really just want to go hang out with Colin and watch a movie and hang at his house. And we were attached at the hip. I mean, we literally moved in together within a month. Yeah.
No way. Just like that.
Yep. That was 18 years ago.
Jeez.
Almost 18 years in September.
Wow. Yeah. Congratulations for you guys. That's awesome. So one of the toughest things for me lately is actually sticking to my diet.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard, and I have to refrain, but just change my mind to where it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, and that's exactly what this new app that I'm trying is doing. It's called Noom.
Yeah, how's that going?
It's going good. Basically, they have this online community, and they have these specialists, and it's basically a bundle of like a behavior change professional, nutrition expert, and a fitness trainer all in one, and it's for less than the price of like one training session.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty crazy. And they have that, community for you that, can help keep you encouraged and on track. So it's really cool. I like it. I don't know, it's just different, right?
Yeah, because it's like got everything you want. It does something with your food. You can track your food, visualize the portion sizes.
Yeah, and you can take this, it's like a 30-second online evaluation that can show you how much weight you can lose and keep off, right? And not everybody has time, right? We're always strapped for time, but this Noom is just telling you to commit 10 minutes a day to this, and they'll give you the encouragement and the tools that you need to change your life.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
It's really awesome. So if you visit today, go to Noom.com/Coco, and you should start your trial. I mean, what do you have to lose? You can start a new life, start new habits. So again, that's Noom.com/Coco. So 3 years after you guys got together, is when...
Yeah, like 2 years after we got together, we did the race, and then it aired 6 or 9 months later or something like that.
So
but we've been together for a couple years when we did it.
So how did that even come about, you guys, the first time, living together to get on the race?
Well, Christie had won Miss Teen USA, and at that time for reality shows, they did a lot of casting from that pool.
Okay.
Because they figured,
the modern day social media
that's right.
type of deal.
Yeah, beauty pageant winners would be great TV. They're attractive.
Yeah.
There may be some drama, and so she used to get recruited for Bachelor, Bachelorette, all the and back then if you were an actor, you didn't do reality TV.
Yeah.
And so she would always no thanks, no thanks, no thanks. And so she had gotten this call about Amazing Race, and I looked it up online, and we'd never heard of it. At that time it had only been a few seasons. And I looked up what the show was about, and I was like, no, Christy, you don't understand. This is like racing around the world and bungee jumping and skydiving and like all these actions. I'm like, we gotta try to get on this.
We're made for this.
Yeah. So we made a tape and sent it in, and then just kind of went through the whole process from there.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And I remember you telling me, Nicole and I, about the race at that time. And one of the things that intrigued us the most is how many plane tickets you were able to purchase. And like how much you spent in that one agency.
Yes. Yeah. So back then the rule was, you had your certain amount of cash for the leg, and then every team sound person had a credit card that would be used for buying air travel only. Your cash covered everything else. Yeah. And then the rule was buy full fare economy tickets so that if you didn't end up using a certain flight, they could return them.
Okay.
But what that meant is that, as soon as someone would say, this is your quickest flight, like, cool, book it. Okay, now keep looking.
Yeah.
Okay, you found one 15 minutes faster? Book that one. Now keep looking. So sometimes we'd end up with 2 or 3 sets of tickets for our whole crew, and then they would have to be left, I guess, dealing with returning the ones we didn't use. But yeah, one time we were down in Bariloche in the southern tip of Argentina. And we opened a clue saying go to St. Petersburg, Russia. So it was a big jump.
Yeah.
And we went into this travel agency. We're like, hey, what's the fastest way we can get to St. Petersburg from, Buenos Aires? And they're looking up all the tickets. Okay, this is this one. It's $2,500 a ticket. We're like, okay, let's keep looking. And they found another one that was, I think it came in 22 minutes before, going through some totally different route. And they're like, oh, but you're not going to want, these are $10,000 a pop, And we're like, cool, we'll take it. and there was 4 teams. There was 4 teams, which meant there was 4 sets of camera crews. So we bought 16 tickets, $160,000.
Oh, my God.
Each sound person had to put a $40,000 charge through, which took a long time. They had to call the credit card companies. Credit card companies were closed.
For 22 minutes. That's how...
For a 22-minute saving. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That is bizarre. I can't even imagine, because even when we raced this time around, when booking a flight or whatever, it was nice to be able to say, just charge it on the card.
Exactly.
It's not my money.
It was a trip.
But I can't imagine $160,000. I mean, CBS must have been like, oh my God, what did we get ourselves in?
And time to change this rule.
The rule is forever null and void.
Because on this season, when we were on it, it was like, look up the... It's scary because you want them to look up the flights. You want the best one. But other teams are looking up too. So do you book it or do you tell them to keep looking? And that was when we had to book our own flights. It was actually really stressful for us because we're like,
when do you pull the trigger?
Yeah.
And the rule this time was once you book your flight, your original flight is nil and void.
That's right.
Use it. So that
and then you can't book another one after.
It's like, my flight's delayed. I can't even get on the original flight. Like
exactly.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, that was hard for us
totally
too.
Different dynamic.
Yeah, it's knowing we couldn't just find a better flight if something else came along, or book a better flight if something else came along. So you really had to get it right the first time.
Yes.
Yep.
And I just want to go off the path a little bit. I am fascinated, Colin, with your drone history. So because I know you have your own consulting company essentially, and you've testified before Congress, and you do all types of research and stuff. How did that even come about? Where did that come from?
Again, just being a geek at heart, loving toys and gadgets and stuff like that all growing up, and always did remote control stuff. And so I think where that came about is I had a home builder marketing firm, and we did a lot of architectural photography, and we used to hire helicopters to try to get aerials of these really big homes. And so I saw this basically opportunity to convince Christy to let me spend $25,000 on a toy helicopter because it was for work, quote unquote, right? And I was like, I'm going to build a giant helicopter and stick a camera on it. And I wasn't the first person to do this. There was other people doing it. I found it online. I found these forums where you buy this part. You're buying parts from 10 different countries and kind of making this thing in your garage. So you're
part of like this original community of people trying to figure out how to do this.
Yeah. So it was just an excuse to have a really cool toy helicopter. That's what originally got me into it.
And then like where did it come to like now, like how does it progress to what you're doing now, because that's huge.
Yeah, and I think it was, try to make a very long story short. It was really trying to understand where the value came from these flying cameras. And in the early days, the people that were willing to pay really good rates to get you to come out and fly was production.
Okay.
TV shows, movies, commercials, stuff like that. But the footage was from these kind of homemade helicopters was really poor. It was really shaky. And so I ended up working with this company who was a 13-person company at the time in China that was making the autopilot that I used on my helicopter. They were a company called DJI. And I knew them well. I knew the founder there. So I ended up hiring them as an engineering firm to develop a stabilized gimbal for my aerial photography company. So we worked on that together. And once it worked, I was like, this is going to be a game changer. No one can shoot stable footage, and that's what everybody in the industry wants. They had been flying around helicopters with cameras strapped to them for like 10 years. This was not a new concept. It's just the footage wasn't any good. And so we developed that together. Ultimately, I was the founder and CEO of DJI North America to like launch this product.
Wow.
And, then we started making products that made it easier for people to learn with, which became the Phantom. That was the kind of the first consumer quadcopter. But ultimately, we grew from $3 million a year in revenue to 20 to 130 to 450 to $1 billion in like 4 years. It was crazy. We just built a whole industry.
And just like the cost savings of like, now we don't have to get all these helicopters in the air with a pilot and then the camera guy in the
That's right. And all the fuel and all, now you can just fly this thing around for the cost of, 2 pennies worth of electricity.
With like 4K
with
recording.
6K.
That's insane.
Yep.
Insane. So I always thought that was interesting, and the stuff that you guys are doing now, you guys should check out. What's the website that you guys have, or your business?
GwenPartners.com.
Yeah, you guys have some really cool stuff on there.
Yeah, we're doing manned drones. We're, passenger drones. We have, now it's all about fully autonomous drone stations, and that's what you'll start seeing in probably 2 or 3 years. Every construction site will just have a box where a drone pops out, scans the site, creates a model, creates a map, does comparative analysis versus the plans for the site, what's actually happening on the earth, all fully autonomous with, machine learning, computer vision, AI, stuff like that.
Be done in like 10 minutes after you upload all the information.
It'll just say, hey, this foundation was poured 6 inches to the left.
Wow.
Yeah.
What great strides. Wow, that was really cool. And Christy,
they were totally geeking out over there.
I try not to go too deep down the rabbit hole.
The thing is, with me, like, I see stuff like that, and like I was telling you the other day, I was watching this documentary where they were using like the drone for the whale's blowhole because they needed that spit, from the whale, and so they had to fly the drone right over to catch it with a petri dish. Like all that stuff just fascinates me, and then I go down like all these weird YouTube video rabbit holes with like technology and all that. So I definitely geek out.
As one does on YouTube.
It's so bad. Yeah. It's so bad. I start with one thing.
So good at getting your attention.
And then like a half an hour later, I'm like conspiracy theories and aliens, Area 51.
I'm with you.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Ladies, if you are looking for a new bra, there is this company called Third Love. And what it is what I did is I went to the website, I found my perfect fit in 60 seconds with a quiz. Mm-hmm. Okay, breast shape matters when finding a good bra. And that's what they specialize in, so they even ask you questions about that. So what I really love is every customer, you have 60 days to wear this bra, wash it, put it to the test, and if you don't love it, you return it. Third Love will wash it and donate it to a woman in need. So what are you going to lose if you don't like the bra?
Exactly.
It saves you a trip from going to the store. You order online, it comes to you.
That's awesome.
So basically, it's it's the most comfortable bra I own. I have several from Third Love. So they're straps that won't slip. They're lightweight, soft, smoothie, breathable cotton bras. Exactly what you're looking for. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone, so right now they're offering my listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/Coco to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/Coco for 15% off today.
Christy, I want to know how you got into your...
Like,
I feel like
the life coach type.
Yeah. How did that come about for you? Because I feel like you started that and then you brought that to Colin, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So where did you find that?
What age? Because right now I'm always stressed and I need some advice.
Well, again, make a long story short. I was doing sports marketing, and when he became the CEO of DJI North America, I quit my company to go be his director of operations.
Oh, wow.
So we started working together for the first time, which was a nightmare. Last time we had worked that close.
I was real bad.
What a supportive partner, though, right?
Yeah, for sure. I was like, oh, and by the way, I can only afford to pay about half of what you're making now.
Yeah.
But please quit and come help me.
Yeah. I need someone I can trust, and I can't really afford to pay someone that is not you know, that I'd have to bring in, that I can really trust and I know can do the job. So we did that for a couple of years, and when he sold his shares in DJI and partnered up in another company called 3D Robotics, that was my opportunity to really take a moment and look inward and see what I wanted to do, because I'd been mom and you know, I've been working ever since I was 16 years old, and my original love, we met in communications class, but my original love was psychology, and I was really gonna go get my PhD in psychology and be a therapist, and I really just love the way humans interact and are. That's always been my big. That's what I'll geek over. You know, I will have a conversation on that all day long, and. So I was going back to school is what I had decided. I was studying for my GRE, and it was all in motion. And our relationship was really kind of hit a rock bottom. He was traveling a lot, working a lot. His dad had recently passed away, and often when we haven't fully healed those aspects of ourselves that are left
vulnerable.
Yeah, when a parent passes away, if you've never had that experience, you will distract yourself, and a lot of times that's through work, and that's what he was doing. And our house flooded, so
one thing on top of the other.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you look back on and see blessing in disguise when you look at that. But the kids and I were in a hotel by ourselves, living there for a couple of weeks while they were fixing the house. He's traveling and just out of pocket. We're never talking. And also we just did not have the communication and the intimacy in our relationship that I was really craving and missing. And I had what I call a dark night of the soul, where it was just sort of like, I'm done. I can't do this.
Wow.
And you know, something happens when you do that. When you're holding on so tight, especially in relationship. You know, for Colin, he's been everything to me. We've been together for so long, and even at that point, we had been together for so long. So the idea that this isn't working, this is over, just crushed me. We had children, like we had a whole life, and at the same time, had to recognize that this is not working. Yeah, and I just breathed for the first time. You know, like really breathe for the first time. And when you let go, sometimes there's saying let go, let God. When you let go, there's just a flood of consciousness that starts to enter into your purview, into your body. And you can have a higher awareness, a broader perspective. And that's what I was able to do that night. It was one of those where you're in fetal position crying and you've cried everything out. And then all of a sudden you just, And when I did that, I could really start to see my part in the play, you know, because it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
You know, it's not one-sided. We like to be in that tit-for-tat blame game thing. Yeah. And I watched a video that I'd been sitting on. It was a very synchronistic thing that someone had sent me, and it was talking about energy and vibration and frequency, and it talked about Dr. Emoto's experiment on water and how much what we say and the energy that we project, how that affects water, and the fact that humans are made up of 70 to 80% water, and just went deep down into that, and it's one of those like where you might go down the rabbit hole of YouTube, but your body lights up, like you're hearing your truth, like this is speaking to you. It's kind of like if you hear a beautiful song and you get chills all up and down your body. It was like that. I was hearing this beautiful song, and I just knew, wow, this is it. Like this is truth that I know. It was really speaking to me, and it was helping me kind of gain clarity, and that led to just down a path where I suddenly the idea of life coaching came in, and a life coaching certification, and I just knew immediately I don't want to go back to school and go into therapy. I want to get I want to become a life coach, because this is really, it's less about trudging up the past and more about, yes, you want to heal those shadow aspects, but it's also about becoming your best self and how to do that and those tools. And as I was really deep diving into that, at the same time that I thought, this may be over, and at the same time, it's also worth fighting for. So started putting into practice what I was learning. And for myself, meditation became a big part of that, but there's a lot of other things, and started putting into practice within our relationship. And I think as I started to clean up my own vibration, he was responding to it, and then he started cleaning up his, and then it just became this thing that started feeding upon each other until a year later we're looking at each other and we're like, you're a totally different person, and this is a totally different relationship, and I had no idea you could go from that to this. Right. And we've just been building, that was probably about 8 years ago, so not that long ago. Yeah. And we've been building ever since from there. We've had a chance to go to Peru a couple of times, drink ayahuasca, plant medicine, of that spiritual culture, which is all about healing and really going inward and looking at shadow aspects of yourself that you want to clean up. We don't really know the dense energy. We come in, it's ancestral, and it's also from our own life experience. And this is really the difference that you see even from season 5, Colin and Christy, and season 31, Colin and Christy, is that in many, many ways, you guys understand editing. You're only seeing one portion of what's really going on. Exactly. But the three-dimensional character of Colin, for example, is very much like the Colin today, when he's fun-loving and collaborative and happy, and at the same time not a whole lot of resilience, so easily triggered, and especially inside of a container of Amazing Race. And so those triggers are the dense energy that's living inside of us, that often relationship, right? That's the blessing of relationship, is kind of poking and prodding at those. Yeah. And it's an opportunity to say, oh, here's an aspect of myself that hasn't quite fully healed or matured or been integrated into my body, and my partner's kind of pointed that out. And I could play the blame game, and I could project this all onto him or her, or I could start to look inward and say, where's my part in this play? Yeah. And when you start to learn the tools to do that, and you have a practice like meditation, which allows you to go from high beta into alpha, which is more of a flow state, which is exactly what we were practicing on the race. Mm-hmm. Okay. We were getting into flow state. Yeah. So that we're out of the thinking mind, especially like after the U-turn. Yeah. when we're making the flower headdress. Yeah. And before you guys get there, and they don't show this, but the cow runs off into the woods. It's like, okay, we're going to be doing that again. So we do 3 detours, not 2, and we are not really talking at all. Mm-hmm. It's like a full flow state where it's almost telepathic communication. You just are in this space. It's kind of like extreme athletes. Mm-hmm. Time stands still. It's a timelessness, a spacelessness, and you're able to sort of mold the clay of the energy of that space and time more so than when you're in this high beta, frantic, anxious place.
It's so cool because it could be something so little, because it's almost like getting under your skin. Nothing can really get under your guys' skin. When something so simple as like Nicole beating me in a card game, and her being like, "Ooh, I beat you." I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm putting my headphones on. Boiling. Like, don't worry. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's just one of those things. Yeah. And so when you guys, I see you guys, like nothing. It feels like it. I mean, I know not everybody's perfect, but nothing is like oh, I mean, it's fine. Like, you won. That's great. Like, I'm happy for you. Like, that's awesome. And I try to do that sometimes, but I don't practice things enough to where I can, like, fully just be like,
actually happy or actually like, good job. You know, he won't ever say good job. It's just like, yeah, whatever. You got more draw 2 cards.
I'm so competitive. You get so competitive with those things.
I know. And you know what's interesting? I think that those triggers. Hearing you talk about it, Christy, it's almost like bruises. Like if you have a bruise on your body. If you don't have a bruise, I can push on your body. It doesn't hurt.
Exactly.
If you have a really bad bruise and I push on it, it hurts. So think of those traumas in our body or traumas in our psyche as bruises, right? And when somebody beats you at something, there's some bruise there that's getting poked.
Yeah.
And so doing the work is identifying the bruise and then like healing it.
Exactly.
And letting it to process, letting that blood flow through or whatever needs to happen to build that resilience so that when somebody beats you at something, you're like, sweet, nice work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you might
still
follow
go
that
just as hard. You can still go just as hard as you ever did. And that was my big fear going into all this stuff was if I become all zen and conscious, am I going to lose my competitive edge?
Yeah.
Because I love being competitive. I love going as hard as I can possibly go. And I still go as hard as I can possibly go, but there's not the trigger if I don't win that there used to be. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the work, just to clarify for those who might be wondering, well, what do I do? You know, I have a bruise. I have bruises all over my body. What do I do about that?
Yeah.
And what you'll find is as you start to deep dive and we say look at sort of the shadow, we call it the shadow because it's the part of yourself you can't see. And actually you see it through relationship.
Yeah,
so
it's like you said, like when somebody says, like your partner says something about you or to you, and then you automatically get mad.
Yes.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, that defensiveness. You've been triggered.
Yeah.
And so whatever she said that's really poked at the bruise in you, if you were to really follow that, you might find that there's a 6-year-old Victor who was, made fun of in his kindergarten class because he couldn't, figure something out and all the other boys didn't accept him because of, right? And so when you start to understand that and you realize like, oh, wow, the part of me that's reacting to losing this card game right now is 6-year-old Victor.
Yeah.
Who was just trying to protect me at that time.
Yeah.
But 30-year-old Victor realizes this is just fun and games, and so you can start to, in meditation and breath work, and again, like we said, plant medicine, but even ecstatic dance. Like there are so many different ways to process that dense energy out of the body. And when you start to integrate and experience life through a more integrated experience, I mean, you will... Every single time you are triggered by your partner, you get excited. You're like, "Ooh, this hurts right now." But on the other side of this, I get to feel more love. I get to feel more joy because, and that's the other thing too. A lot of times people get triggered; they don't want to look at it. I don't want to feel that. Yeah. But you can't really have one without the other. It's sort of the light and the dark, the yin and the yang. You have to really feel what's going on inside of you. Even that sadness or like when his dad passed away, a lot of what was happening with us is he didn't want to feel that. So he was avoiding communicating with me because communicating with me was just going to trigger all those feels that he would have
to talk about that you don't want to. Yeah.
But it's having those feelings and really feeling into your deepest sorrow that allows you, that gives rise to your greatest joy.
So
and really knowing that.
If somebody wants to go on a deep dive in YouTube or something, like what would I search to start that process? What do you think?
Well, if you're in relationship, Colin and I actually created a free video series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 6-part video series at colinandchristy.com.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And we really made this video, it's part of our dharma, like a giving back, that we had the second chance to go back on the race, and we knew that we wanted to apply all of these practices inside that container, and that people might be curious to know more. So we wanted to create this video series as sort of a thanks to the universe for giving us this blessing and this opportunity. And here's some of the things that we do and did in our relationship that has cultivated more intimacy and more sexuality and more sensuality in our relationship. So I would start there.
That's awesome.
That's really cool, and I like that. I like that you opened up about your relationship in the past, that things do happen, right?
Oh, yeah. All the things have happened.
Yeah, and nobody, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people can see from the outside in, and that's why I like talking to people, and they think it's perfect all the time. You know?
Right.
And relationships do take work, and it's not 100% easy all the time, but that's what brings you guys closer, and I really
it helps
appreciate
everyone
that.
else that's at home that thinks, well, everyone else is so happy. Look at them on media. Look at them,
Yes.
you know, and they realize, well, they worked to get there, or they did struggle to get there. So then it gives people, you know, listening, okay, well, like, I'm going to look into that. I'm going to work on us.
I don't have to give up.
Yeah, exactly. Giving up, you know, isn't always the answer. And sometimes it's easy, and that's not what...
That's why we love the platform of the race, and how it became very clear for us that was an opportunity for us to go show, not tell. Because really, this is a show.
That's true.
You're not going to learn this in a book. You're not going to learn this from a preacher, teacher in a pulpit. Like, they can tell you, but you really have to experience and show. And there was a story arc. We knew. I mean, Colin and Christy season 5, it's kind of like, if they can do it, anyone can do it, you know?
And what a better way, right?
Yep.
Like, because it worked. Everybody looks at you guys like, man, they are so freaking calm and chill all the time. And this last leg, more than any moment, right? Taxi's gone, stuck, decoding. You know, what a better time to be calm and composed and having a really dig deep and you know, bring that out. Another thing I wanted to ask you guys about is, are you big on the law of attraction? Is that something that you guys like believe? Because I've seen, like, they have the documentary on Netflix that I had seen, and like people do the storyboards, and like if you put it out in the universe, it'll come back to you. Like, how do you guys feel about that?
Yes, I don't usually use the term law of attraction, because a lot of people have a distaste, because there's a misunderstanding about that.
Okay.
You know, and I think you're talking about The Secret.
Yes.
And I remember when that came out, and it's funny because when that came out, I remember looking at Colin going, that's not a secret. That's how, I've been knowing that. I've been running my life like that all the time. He's like, me too. But when you take a deep dive, so that is a universal law, similar to gravity is a law, right? Like, you don't have to believe in gravity, but it's happening.
Yeah.
So the law of attraction is this like attracts like. So what you vibrate is what you create in your reality. So what most people have a superficial understanding of what law of attraction is. And think of it as like, I'm going to put a happy face sticker on top of an empty gas gauge, right? And I'm just going to have this positive thinking, and I'm going to ignore all this shadow stuff that's actually living in my body. So the important thing is, it's about what you vibrate. So, which is why we are always going for the vibration of love, because love is the highest frequency in the universe. That is the highest frequency. This is when you become powerful beyond measure. So when we are being U-turned, for example, it doesn't serve us to hang on to any sort of resentment that any team has U-turned us. It doesn't serve us to take that personally, because all that's going to do is, now I'm vibrating at the level of resentment. Right? Yeah. Versus if I can immediately say, hey, it's part of the game. Anyone's allowed to play however they want to play. And we forgive you. I forgive you. I let it go. Now I'm at that vibration of forgiveness. I'm at that vibration of love. Yeah. And so my ability to get into flow state and make 2 headdresses when my cow runs off, right? Because we were not there in season 5 when we got yielded. Okay, similar situation. We got yielded. The infamous "my ox is broken" was the same leg that we got yielded. So it was a very interesting kind of fractaled reliving moment of season 31 when the U-turn happened, and we were in our heads and we were angry at Chip and Kim. They were our friends. We had helped them this whole time. How dare they? You know, blah blah blah. And this is where we were at. So when we get to the ox, of course, we don't end up getting clear instructions. We don't know that I can lead the ox. He's trying to do it all by himself. And that's one of those things, too, where it's like, well, they didn't show us. We realized, and they showed the other teams. But when you get into flow state, when you're able to, again, you get what you give, likely the little guy would have shown us how to do it. You see what I'm saying? Because you're creating it at a higher level. So we get there, our resilience is gone, we're vibrating in resentment, and, this freaking my ox is broken. Experience. That's how it happens, right?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So the idea is, if you want to work with a vision board, or you want to work with quantum visualization, which is exactly what we were doing on the race, then like when we were envisioning winning, we envisioned running to the mat with Phil and everyone standing around clapping like so many times. And the times that we would do it were the legs of the race that we either won or we had just done really badass, right? And so we're in this high vibrational state, and now we would feed off of each other and go, and then we're running in, and we can see everyone smiling and they're laughing, and oh my God, it feels so good, and Phil's right there, and you've just won $1 million, because that's what we're vibrating. And so in that space, what we are putting into our imagination, that's molding the clay of the reality that we ultimately want to create into the physical. We're bringing the non-physical into the physical. So when we are running to the mat with Phil, it's surreal. It's like we're in a dream. It's like I've lived this 1,000,000 times over. Here we are.
In real life. That's really cool. I'm happy that you guys were able to. I mean, I got to work on that now. Big time. And now I just want to transition into this episode. It was, gosh, that was a tough episode. And you guys did a lot. You guys ended up, that was a lot of tasks in one. In the finale.
Final leg.
But before that, I wanted to clarify that in when we were doing the decoding, you did help me, Christy. But
they cut that out. Why did they do that?
I had to wait because you guys were working together, and it was a little awkward. But I had to wait, and I knew this because you're such a sweet person. I had to wait for Korey to leave the room to catch you one-on-one and be like, hey, because I really wasn't understanding the instructions. And then she told me, and I was like, I had the aha moment. I was like, okay, this comes easy now. So I just wanted to dispel that.
Yes, and you're probably right that to wait for Korey to leave. And at the same time, though, we really still were of the mindset of collaboration over competition. And it wasn't in expectation that you would help me back, which you didn't. You walked out, you're like, see ya.
There was a little resentment in my heart, just a little bit.
But we always, again, molding the clay, it's at a higher level than just the three-dimensional sort of tit for tat. Oh, I did this for you, now you're supposed to do this for me. It's like, no, I'm getting what I'm giving. So if I'm putting that out there and I'm coming from this place of love and collaboration, ultimately it's going to come back in the form of, and like for us, it's a challenge that's just so seemingly impossible that takes teams hours and hours, that it gives us the opportunity to actually catch up. And it's a challenge that is extremely difficult for us as well. And at the same time, we know deep down, if we give it enough time, we will be able to get this.
And holy crap, Colin.
We were there for like 2 hours, I think.
And we've replayed this over and over in our head. And, hindsight's always 20/20. Like, when you guys got there and we had been there so long, we should have just left. But aside the fact, seeing you actually being able to do it, because we just tried. Nicole put the oars in the boat. Nicole just hold them out the boat and whatever. Nicole, and I just couldn't. And it was, like you guys said, had I had some clarity and this, that, and the third, like you guys, I had practiced that before, maybe I could have. Less frustrated, more focused, whatever. But it was, and damn, you look sexy.
Hey, so did you. You both did.
Seeing you, and then at the end when you were done, just like rinsing out your shirt, the pecs had the lines in it, and I was like, God, this guy. How did that feel for you, though? Because you were 1 second off.
Yeah, it was interesting. I guess, it goes back to like, it really required so much brain processor and body like movement and awareness and strength. It was kind of this combination because it was so much about balance and timing and
there was like 5 different movements because not only are you sliding forward and backwards, you have to twist your wrist to one way when you go down, twist them back the other way, and then row.
And kind of go above and below each other.
And have the balance.
There was so much going on. And so I think it's a matter of like, it really required like 100% of my processor, right? So if I'm thinking anything about anything else, that is processor that's being used thinking about worrying about not being able to do this. And so I started just playing with it. And I kept visualizing all these videos I've seen of people rowing crew that just look so graceful and easy, right?
Like the movie Limitless. Yes. You start downloading all that information.
So I just start visualizing that, and they didn't show any of this, but I start yelling at everybody on the like banks of the shore. I'm like, I need all your love, I need all your help. Send me your positive vibes. And I start like as I'm rowing, I start singing the chant to Chariots of Fire. I'm like dun 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 dun. And I'm just like, if I can just get super stoked and have fun with this, and like maybe it's going to start clicking, And finally, it started clicking. I realized that if I could get some momentum going and some speed up, then I could kind of stay in it. If I could just stay in it for a minute, Yeah,
so. And when people don't see, it's like, and I'm glad that you said it on the show, is you can have 3 amazing strokes, and those strokes will go perfect.
And then your paddle just barely catches
the paddle catches once when you're coming back, or your hands hit each other, and you're just like, and then you lose the whole thing. It's gone.
We had trouble going straight too. Like we would
the wind
turn.
was blowing at an angle
into
us at an angle, so it would have to be like both paddles, one paddle, both paddles, one paddle, one paddle, and I would have to keep one out of the water every third paddle or every fourth paddle to try and keep it, because you had to go between the two buoys. You couldn't just get to the other side. You had to go between the little yellow. It was tough.
And like you were saying, everything, because I mean, you probably, let's say you didn't get it on that one, like you might not have gotten it on the next one, and it might have taken a little bit longer. Everything had to come together in that perfect one time to make it within that 1 second.
Right. Because the one where we barely missed it by like a second or two, it took us 3 or 4 more tries.
That's what I'm saying.
To do another one. It wasn't like, we just did it one more time and then we got it within 59 seconds. It was like mess up again, mess up again, mess up again. I was like, oh my God, is this going to happen? And then finally, and actually the time that it happened, I was rowing. We were having a good run. I was like, okay, we're halfway in. Like, keep this up, and this is going to be it. And then I fell off my seat. My seat slid back, and I was sitting on the bottom of the thing, and I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to keep going. But we ended up getting it within 59 seconds. And so it was just arms only.
No legs.
No movement of my lower body for the second half. Yeah, it was crazy.
That reminds me of, like, I don't know if you've seen The Dawn Wall, the documentary.
It's so funny. We were talking about that with Phil last night.
When he was stuck on pitch 13, going, sideways, that's kind of like what it reminds me of. You just got to keep going.
Yeah, although just not nearly that legit.
Oh, my God. If nobody's ever seen The Dawn Wall, and I was very skeptical. I'm not a rock climber. Nothing like that really, interests me. Like, I like seeing high stuff and mountains, but just rock climbing itself. But that was a heck of a documentary.
Yep.
I don't know.
And then because look at the time.
Go ahead.
Okay, so then in the final leg, I didn't realize you and Tyler and Korey were so like neck and neck the whole time, and coming out and not being able to find your taxi when you were clearly like in first, then you had to. Being able to keep like calm and coming back from that, like, because I feel like I would have been like, well, Vic, that's it. Like now, I'm in that mindset of, well, there we go. Like, we're done.
To be fair, I did lose it on my taxi.
I saw Colin over there, just
let's just get going to our next location.
Telling him anything right now is not going to help.
Proving we are human. It does happen. There was a trigger, and that's like a testament to. For us, it was really easy to detach from winning if it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like whatever, we come in second, third, no big deal. So if something like that happens, you'd have to have a lot happening to us to phase us on one of those other legs. The $1 million leg.
The $1 million leg.
It's really difficult to detach from that, and that triggered in me just how much I wanted to win. And so and there was a bit of unconsciousness there for a moment, because even as he's saying, like, don't do this. This isn't serving. I'm like, oh, yes, it is. I need to tell him how it is. Now, and for the record, we do apologize to him, and we also give him all the rest of our money, and we thank him so much.
Happy.
And he was very happy, and we had a great experience, and it was all wonderful.
No, when I was watching, though, I was kind of like, Colin, let her give it to him, because I'm like, man.
That's awesome.
And Nicole will do the same thing, you know.
No, he needs to stay there. Like, he cannot go off.
I was just thinking, I was like, let's just get going toward our next location, and on the way, let's give it to him.
But not give it to him. But it was one of those things where it was kind of like, we're meant to have the same cab all day long, and I didn't know how many more stops you were going to have. And so it's kind of like, okay, you've got to be right there and ready to go, because we're going to be neck and neck all day long.
And we were just feeding them hundreds.
Yeah.
You know?
You're going to have the biggest fare of your life
all day, but you got to be there.
You got to be there. Exactly.
That's crazy. And like you said, it was so close, even down to the drum set, where you both thought you were done, just asking for the give me the go ahead. And what attention to detail one has to have for that, because for either of you guys at any moment, like you said on the show,
that's right,
he could have saw his cymbal and been like, I just need to loosen this a little bit, and you guys still not find the little knot. Like how is that processing through your mind?
That's the perfect testament of being able to slow down, take a breath, and like not force it, from your small self, to let a higher knowing that's not in your small ego mind kind of guide you. And I think that's exactly how it played out.
I had an intuitive hit that, because we were adjusting the way the stool was.
Just about to say
all
that.
Kind of things.
She had that.
She did.
Thought it's like it has to be in the details.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's
I could
not
tell.
where they're at.
I knew. I was like, it's something about that. And we had also had an experience where kind of like there's no time in general, but we could really have that true experience on the race, where in those challenges that were really difficult, like the rowing, while I was in the moment doing the rowing, I could also see us at home on the couch watching with our tribe and our family. And it was happening at the same time. And so I knew that at home they were going to be highlighting the one little area, the one thing that was wrong. So I got this hit. It's some little small detail. It's not all this adjustment. He says, we got to call our angels and guides. He's so cute. And I'm thinking, well, either way, telepathically, if there is no time and we've got tribe at home on the couch who are seeing exactly what's going on, they're probably screaming it at the TV. So we might be able to hear that if we can just take a breath and get into a more alpha brainwave state, because in that alpha theta brainwave state, you are like, we don't realize how much look, you guys play Big Brother. Big Brother is a big part of this. Being able to read the energy of another, to know who you can trust. That is knowing and understanding at a more energetic level than what's actually being shown physically. So when you really understand that, you can start to play with it at a higher level. So it's like, okay, telepathically, we've got people at home in a totally other time and space that can be telling us what's going on. And what was so beautiful, and I'm so glad that they showed it, because it did happen that way, was when I knew I wasn't going to figure it out. I'm not the technical person.
And this is an hour in of trying to figure out what's this little detail.
Oh my god!
With like the loud music of not being able to,
not being able to translate that when you're watching it on TV. I just cannot imagine trying to talk to each other with an entire, symphony of drums and people singing, and oh my gosh,
whole other level. Although on TV, I thought it was really cool with like music. I was like, wow, that was badass. I was like, wow, we look like badasses put together this drum set. But I knew he would see it or he would figure it out, but I needed to get him into that more alpha brainwave state. And he does that and immediately looks at the drum set, sees it right away.
Instantaneously.
After that breath? After that? No way.
It's like I heard all the people yelling, it's the lever, whatever it was. And I just looked right at it and I was like, does that thing move? And I'd click and I was like, okay, maybe that was it.
The things that have to happen, like, she might have not seen the lever, but knowing that she has to calm you down, and
that's teamwork.
And you guys squat down in that moment, and it just so happens you turn your head at that squat level, and you're like,
that's right.
That's off.
That's exactly it.
It's things like that happen. Those things were happening for us on the race all the time. and even in real life, and that it just that's what sort of builds your faith. We were talking about this with Team Fun, building faith. It's really, faith is, if you take out of any sort of religious context, it's what you believe in.
Yeah.
Literally what you believe in. That is your faith. Where are you investing your faith? And so our there's just faith. We at this point have so much faith with working with the energy at that level that I knew if we can just calm it down, just take that breath, it's going to happen.
That's really cool. And I guess, skip to, you guys run to the mat, exciting moment, very emotional. You won $1 million, like, you're going to Disney. But like, what do you guys, what were you guys thinking? What do you guys, people want to know what you're going to do with the winnings.
Let's see. What are we going to do with the winnings?
Yeah, well, first of all, it was amazing. It was super awesome. And so we're going to be. We've made and lost millions several times now. So we've had a few runs at this. So we're not going to blow it all in a month. This time around. But I think from a charity perspective, one that we do some work with and donate to already that we really love is the MAPS organization, which is the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies. Oh, and they're in phase 2 clinical trials right now. Are they moved to phase 3?
Phase 3 clinical trials.
They're on a full fast track by the FDA because they're able to essentially eradicate PTSD, therapy-resistive PTSD, with like mind-boggling results using MDMA therapy with guided therapy sessions, and it's really cool. So
they're working with vets. So these are people with extreme PTSD.
It's really sad for those guys. They come back from war and see some crazy stuff, and
so after
adjusting to real life,
and this is not with any kind of ongoing pharmaceutical use. This is 3 sessions with a one-time dose,
essentially to eradicate.
To like go in, relive it, release it, heal the bruise, right? And so with 3 treatments, they're able to go in and they're seeing, I think it's something like 60+% of the PTSD patients that are going through the protocol have no more PTSD like 30 days after, right? Now here's what's wild. What's wild. 12 months later, with no pharmaceuticals whatsoever, it goes from like 62 to 69%.
Jeez.
So it actually becomes even more of the people that didn't quite make it after 30 days. After another 11 months of integration, they're getting more of the people. So they're just eradicating PTSD.
Amazing.
Because, it's really sad when you think you can handle it, and then you start the medications, and then those medications can be for the rest of your life.
That's right.
Medications in general aren't good for your body, your mind, and you just feel like you're at a loss and you're stuck.
Heal the core wound.
It's putting a Band-Aid on a core wound. So the MDMA therapy is really going in and actually getting to the core wound so you can heal that, which I think is where medicine for us is going in general, because we don't want to, we look at our parents' generation and older, and you get to this place where it's like suddenly you think you're supposed to just start popping pills because that's part of life, everywhere. Right?
Yep.
And it's like, no, there's so much more to fueling the temple that is your body and being able to heal the temple that is your body. And so that's just one of the organizations that it's very leading edge. But we really believe in it because it's also a therapy that we have tried, and it's been very successful individually and in our relationship as well.
It's got FDA breakthrough therapy designation. It's on the fast track because the results are so astounding that it's got all the, there's no big money pharma money behind it. But they're getting every single fast track that they can get because the results are so astounding.
Well, I just found something that I'll be diving into for an hour in articles.
Maps.org.
Well, that's awesome. Big props, and thank you for donating to that. That's really cool.
For sure.
And I guess that unless you guys got anything else,
thank you so much for coming on.
We appreciate you guys. You guys are really sweet and awesome, and we definitely made lifelong friends.
We just want to say thank you so much for having us on, and it really was a blessing to get to run the race with you guys.
We feel like that too. We like you're our guardian angels on the road.
That positive zen. Every time I came up to you guys, it just, even if I was in a bad mood, give me a big old smile. Just Colin, your chakra around your neck. Give me a hug, man. It was just always positive.
And you kept him on his game. I was like, that Vic. I mean,
The number of times I heard, well, listen, Victor's doing this. So if Victor's doing that, so then I played that background. I was like, well, guess what? Victor was just down eating pancakes. So if Victor's eating pancakes, I get to eat pancakes.
Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Well, thank
Love
you
you,
guys
Devin.
so much. I hope all the listeners enjoyed, and you guys have a good day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Stay tuned for our live podcast brought to you by Travelocity. Bring us in, babe.
Welcome to
Coco Caliente! Live podcast today from the Londoner here in Dallas. Thank you guys, like I just said, for showing up. First live podcast ever. And just a round of applause for you guys for coming here.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, so we're still in the race. Obviously, that's why you guys are here. It's a finale party, so there's that.
There's that.
Doing the best we can, right, to survive. And I just want to start first off.
So loud back there.
Yeah, it is loud back there.
Is it them or is it the party downstairs?
It's everything, but it's fine.
Okay.
But I want to start with one of the segments that we do a lot, and I think you guys know if you listen, is the Spanish word of the day.
Yes.
Right? So we're going to let Nicole try to do this Spanish word of the day, and then if she can't get it, you guys might want to help her, all right?
Yeah, I always need help, obviously. So today will not be any different.
So the Spanish word of the day is carrera.
Can you say that again, please?
Carrera.
How would I say it?
You would say Carrera.
Okay, that helps me a ton, to be honest. Okay, does it have something to do with water or boats?
No.
Okay, who knows this? Okay, you back there. No way. Race. Dang it. Thank you.
Carrera means race, and also it means career. So 2 for 1 there. Yeah, there's that.
And I got 0 of 2.
She never really gets any of them, but that's not her fault.
But honestly, it's the pressure of like getting it on the spot, because when I'm on my app, Duolingo, I get everything right. So, no, seriously, like, you know what I mean?
The 3 times that she does it out of the year, yeah, she gets it right, so...
No, I get it right all the time. It's the pressure. I'm terrible under pressure, as you'll see in tonight's episode.
Yeah, and a lot of times, guys, when we're doing this podcast at the house, we don't look like this, you know.
Pajamas, hairs
everywhere, breath is a bit smelly. and we can edit all the content afterwards, so doing, this is a little bit different, but, it is what it is. And then I just want to jump straight into our Weird or Normal, because I think this is really interesting. And actually, that's you.
Yeah, so we do a Weird and Normal segment, and today is okay, so Victor, do you think it's weird or normal to look into your tissue after you sneeze? Who does that? Do people do that? Yeah. Right, you got to know the color.
That's
kind of a gross concept when you think about it.
I think it is weird,
it.
but in a sense normal, because everybody does it. I mean, it's like, and this is going to be...
If it's like really bad, you like just close the tissue really fast. You're just like, oh my God.
So is it weird or normal to look at the tissue when you wipe your butt?
Ew! Okay, he went too far. Took it too far. Victor! See, we would edit this out at home. We cannot do that here.
I'm just saying, people do weird stuff like that all the time. I mean, like, there's people that pick their toenails and smell it, too. Smell your fingers afterwards.
Ew.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay, anyways.
Went off a dark road there.
Yeah. Brett. That's his favorite part.
Yeah, we got a lot of excited cast members here. We got the final 4 teams, obviously, ourselves. We got Colin and Christy, the Afgans, and we also have Tyler and Korey.
Yeah, so first we'll bring on...
Yeah, we're going to bring our first guest out.
What time is
and
it?
I'll actually have to go grab them because I think they're talking over there and they can't hear us. We're going to get the Afgans out here.
Woo!
Yeah, Afgans!
Right here next to you. Happy birthday, Nicole.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It almost is my birthday.
I didn't even. Just to clear that record, I didn't even know it was her birthday. The producers are like, "Hey guys, you know which day it is today?" I was like, "What? It's Nicole's birthday." I was like, "Hey, happy birthday, Nicole!" And they edited it so perfectly. I was like, "Oh man!"
Over and over again.
You got to be careful with what you say, you know.
Did you feel bad afterwards, like no, or did it just excite you more?
I think it kind of excited me a
You
little
looked
more. I was
excited.
like, "Oh man, that was how they played it out." I think it just came out perfectly. I was like, "All right, yeah, I can see us being the evil
Because they
team
had
in this
me
league."
say, like, "Hey, Nicole, it's your birthday. Tell
Yeah.
us you want to do good." I'm like, "It's my birthday."
Exactly.
And
Then they make you play into it, like, "Oh, so what is it? What's today so special about?" "Oh, it's my birthday and this," and they're like, "Oh," I was like, "That's never good. Your birthday on the Amazing Race. Good luck."
Well, and actually leaning into that a little bit, you turning us in that moment ended up being such a pivotal decision for you guys just because we caught up.
yeah,
right?
you guys got lost.
So with the U-turn, you know, everyone knows
Wait,
we love.
so I think, like, hold it close. Like, just pick
You
the
got to make
freaking
out with the
thing up.
microphone.
Come
for me
on,
to really
come on,
hear you.
Leo. Come on.
They
okay,
want to
all
hear
right.
us in the back.
All right, so can you hear me? Everyone? Clear? Good. So what we love Nicole and Victor, like,
Yeah.
they are amazing. But at that moment in time, when you have a U-turn sort of blessed at that situation, we're in the middle, right? We don't know where we're going. Imagine you get a flat tire or your car breaks down or something happens. You always want some insurance. Like, everyone has health insurance for a reason. They have car insurance for a reason. A U-turn is like an insurance policy.
Yeah.
So we knew that two teams were behind us, Nicole and Victor and Floyd and Becca. So the only differentiation between the two was that they had voted for us. Although we didn't get U-turn, you guys had voted for us. That was the only reason. Had Floyd and Becca voted for us, it would have been exact opposite way. That's it. But, you know, as I said, it's an insurance policy. It's gameplay, so...
Have you ever?
I'm sorry, damn!
No, it's a. I'm gonna shed a tear here. You're so kind about it all.
Have you guys ever passed up a U-turn board?
Never.
Never. And how was it like this season? Because you guys didn't get U-turned this season.
I mean-
It's the first time.
A successful U-turn.
Successful,
I mean,
yeah.
This year.
for Leo and I to survive a potential of 3 U-turns throughout a whole season, it was just unheard of. For us to survive 3 U-turns, only team ever, and then go through a whole season not to be U-turn, I was like, man, these teams really think that we're not that good. I was like, nice, let's just stay in the middle.
Yeah, there was scenarios. For instance, had this been an all-amazing race cast like our first season, they for sure would have done...
They would have blocked the U-turn
They blocked
board.
the U-turn. So Colin and Christy
If they really
should have
wanted to,
U-turned
they could have U-turned.
Tyler and Korey after they passed, and then they could have U-turned us, and we would have gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, but they don't play like that. So
they got to think about that. How
Thank
to
you,
block
guys.
the U-turn board. They could have done it, but they're like, nope, let's just leave the other teams, and then we're in the middle. We're like, all right.
And having said that you guys weren't really like, it's not that you guys weren't seen as a threat, but nobody really had a target on your back per se.
Yeah.
So do you think you guys were less of a villain this season, or do you guys consider yourselves kind of a villain because like telling people the wrong way or go up or
'Cause
there's
you guys
nothing up there, wrong building?
okay. So a villain. No.
You weren't the villain this
Nah,
season.
I
not the
think
villain.
Corinne and Eliza clearly got that one.
But you have to be careful with what you say.
Yeah.
Okay. So in a scenario where, for instance, I bring this up, Brett and Chris were in the water searching for coins
Yeah.
Croatia.
in Croatia, and Tyler and Korey asked them, how long have you guys been here? And they said 2 hours. The honest truth. If that was us, we'd have been like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
smart.
yeah.
And we would have played with that just because, 2 hours, you're going to give that team now 2 hours leeway and let them, the
Yeah.
ability to go ahead and switch. And then when Colin and Christy asked, Brett and Chris, it was the same exact thing. They're like, oh, we've been here a long time. So it's just little scenarios like that where you have to think about you're actually eliminating yourself by telling the truth.
Yeah. So they eventually got out in that episode because of what you choose to say. You could choose to say, like Christy has, I don't answer that. Don't do that. But it's all the editing and how it portrays, like them saying 2 hours made the other two teams switch. Yeah. And ultimately they got them out.
Yeah, that's true.
So it depends. That's,
in the context of what's going on.
Lying, joking, acting,
Because you guys, you actually bought us a meal when we didn't have any money, the very beginning and everything. And I was crying. I was like, thank you for the food. They're not mean. They're really not.
You really have to look at those behind-the-scenes videos that they put on YouTube, on the Amazing Race channel. It shows a lot more of the interactions with the teams. And
real interactions.
One of the things that we did in Laos, every other team went straight to the airport. We took Nicole and Victor. We're like, let's go exploring. That's what we do best after every leg of the race. Yep. We went to this beautiful waterfall that we would never have gotten a chance to go there in our lifetime. So we went there. And they recorded everything. It's on YouTube. It was beautiful. Yeah. We had Tarzan jumping in the water with his long hair. And
Nicole was stressed the whole time.
I thought we were going to get out and miss the
She's
flight.
like, are you guys sabotaging us? Did we miss our flight? It's like, no. Trust me. We want to be on the same flight.
Yeah. If you'll see if we're all waiting at the airport and we have nothing else to do, we all love each other.
Yeah.
Right now we love each other. We talk to each other constantly. But on the race, if only one team's going to get a ticket, unfortunately you're going to do what you have to do to get that ticket.
And I will give you guys the credit. You guys are very smart. When you were talking about they bought everybody food, it was because in the particular location that we were, I can't remember, opposed to paying like $100 taxi, they took I think it was like a bus,
a bus,
$20 bus.
Yeah, $20 bus, and. For people that don't understand the race, you're only with X amount of money, so you don't want to spend your money on food in case down the line you miss a taxi or you go the wrong way, and then you won't have enough money to spend. But they had so much excess, and they used it to buy food for everybody. So that was really nice.
At that moment in time, it was our second or third episode, so we don't have a risk of going out yet. There's a whole episode still left. And we had this extra cash, so we're gonna buy everyone food. This is their first time, so we're gonna treat them. That's how we really are.
And you guys hold the record for the most legs, right? Ran in Amazing Race history.
Just think about it. 31 seasons and counting, over 400 contestants, to have the most legs raced. And luckily, we got that record from the Rachel. So that was very short-lived for her. So we're like, oh, no. We're going to go ahead and take this where it belongs.
They who shall not be named.
So most roadblocks, most U-turns survived, most countries visited. Really, not to be cocky or anything, when you think about the Amazing Race, you got to think about Leo and Jamal. We've been almost 32, 33 episodes, 33 tonight.
Yeah.
So
that's impressive.
Amazing. Yeah, that really is. And okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and just piggybacking on that, tonight would be where you guys, the final four, right?
Yeah.
Where are you guys in the previous other ones where you guys got out, if I'm not mistaken?
So what was the pressure like? Like going into this again for the third time, was there more pressure? Or what
was going through your mind?
Yeah.
When we found out that we were going to London on the leg 11, which we got eliminated there on season 24.
Wow.
So it was like
Flashback
deja vu all over again. And this season, like I've said, it's been a season of redemption. We got first place on the first leg of the race in Tokyo, which we got eliminated in season 23 there. And then, Becca and Floyd, they got first place in Vietnam. That was the place that they got eliminated. Yeah. So for us, this episode was a lot of pressure as far as not to choke on the 11th place. We don't want to be known as the greatest fourth place team ever. So no one remembers that. So it's going to be an exciting episode.
Well, fingers crossed we pass that tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How's Pablo?
Yeah.
Pablo, should we live feed Pablo right now? He doesn't have a phone.
And as you guys being such experienced racers, right, in your tenure, what is the most important thing that you guys would pack in your backpack?
Good question.
Because I made a mistake and packed too much. My clock was about the size of a brick.
For Leo, it's a shaver.
I'll
tell you the truth. It's
good shoes.
Good shoes, but really, when it comes down to it, for us, after the first season that we ran, we ditched our big backpacks in Austria.
Yeah, if you see Chris and Brett's bag, our bag was twice as big.
Literally, maybe like 12 inches
we ditched it
10 inches.
Episode.
Wow.
We ditched our backpack, and ever since then, we've noticed to just bring small backpacks. Every time we went to a different country, if the clothes got dirty or the socks, we just threw them away and just kept on disposing of clothes as we went along.
Everything we wore in Uganda, we threw away.
That leg was we had mud everywhere.
Yeah, and that mud would not go away.
There was mud where the sun don't shine.
Are you sure that was mud?
I still have one of the hoodies from that competition. I use it for the gym, and there's mud stains all over my back. Those are just not coming out. And I still got fish gut smell from when we were in Laos.
Yeah,
I should just throw those away, honestly.
Yeah, you should.
Just sounds
I think it's time, Victor.
Yeah.
Just sounds really bad. Well, I want to get some questions from you guys for Leo and Jamal. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand, and I'll head over to you.
Make it good.
What's your name, bud?
Make it count.
My name's Matt, and I was going to ask, what was the most difficult part of the race for y'all?
I think one of the...
Like anything in general, like whether it be some type of roadblock or something like that.
I think the biggest thing is just traveling from different country to country. What you don't see is that off TV, in order to go from LA to Japan, that's a 10, 11-hour flight. And that there could be draining on your body. Your mind doesn't stop racing because you're trying to stay awake and seeing what other teams are doing, who they're asking information for. And then you go to that person, like, what did this person ask you? And then give me that same info. So you're playing games in your head, but really you should try to stay relaxed and calm, which is hard to do because it's like, all right, competition for $1 million. Any little piece of advice could make or break you on that next leg of the race.
Yeah. We could, before the race, we could talk about that, keep your cool. But once you're on the show, like, it's like you have blindfolds on. You completely forget. It's easy watching it. We'll say it, oh, damn it, like, we missed those flags. But, like, in that moment, in that time, it's a whole different world. It's like something you never experienced before. So
have you seen that movie,
difficult.
Get Out?
Yes.
Well, let's just say if you're messing up, it's just like you're never going to catch back up. You just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And you're like... On TV, it looks very simple and very easy, but you're just like, what the heck? Let me just snap out of it, and you can't.
Anybody else have a question? All right. What's your name, and go ahead with your question.
My name's Cam. So my question is, since you guys have been on so many different seasons and different legs, what would you say is your all-time least favorite leg and most favorite leg you've been on?
Least favorite would be China. In season 24, there was a couple episodes we did there. Right off the bat, I got out, started running. Next thing you know, I'm wheezing and coughing, and I don't have asthma. I was like, what the heck is going on? That pollution in China is real. They don't play around. We didn't even go to Beijing, so that was my least favorite.
I think both of ours, maybe one of our favorite is definitely Switzerland, this last one. It was so epic from all, like, train ride, airplane ride, helicopter, self-driving funiculars. Like, we did everything in one episode. It was like one of the best days of my life, like, hands down.
Yeah.
Croatia was
one
of the worst days of my life.
What?
that Switzerland one, one of the worst days.
That was amazing.
Okay, so
Any other questions? Last one. All right, here we go.
My name is Laura Lee, and how long from beginning to end, what's the time reference of how many days or how many weeks did it take for the race?
So the race takes about, I think, around 4 weeks.
No,
a little less, maybe 22 days.
It's the actual race is about 21 to 22 days, but the total time that you're away from your family is about 30 days.
Because before we leave for the race, we're doing, like,
interviews,
publicity,
photos,
medical check, background checks, hotel, doing interviews.
Psychiatric
Takes
tests
a lot,
and everything. Literally, psych. Like, man.
A lot of tests. And then between each episode, like, you'll have a maybe 12-hour to 36-hour resting period, but it's not even 36 hours or 24 hours because the first 3-4 hours you're showering and doing more interviews, and you have to get out 3-4 hours. So it's tough, very tough. Takes a toll.
Well, thank you, Leo and Jamal.
Yes,
Afghan
thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate
It's so
it.
Thank
great.
you.
We love Nicole and Victor.
Thank you, Nicole, Victor.
Nicole for president 2020. Vote her.
Thank you, guys.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'll go grab our next two, which will be Colin and Christy. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks, man. Thank you. I'm all sweaty, man.
And how about from Mr. Rico Suave, huh? Look at this dance move.
hello.
Round of applause for Colin and Christy. All right. Team Zen. And speaking of which, before we get started, I would like, if you'd be ever so kind, Christy, to just lead us through a nice, quick, guided meditation like we did on the train in Switzerland.
Well, to be fair, that was Colin leading us.
Oh, that's true.
We
that's
all
true.
Hold the hands.
Here we go.
And feel the love of the universe.
That's right.
Everybody, close your eyes.
Actually, we'll just do, really just, if you want to, you can just close your eyes and just take a really deep belly breath. And just let it out very slow. Do it one more time. Let it out. Victor's really into this.
Oh,
Awesome.
big time.
And doesn't
I can
it feel
feel it.
better? Really, it really doesn't have to be anything unique or special. It just comes back to the breath.
I am really, I'm always in shock and awe with you guys on how you guys remain so calm, level-headed, and not angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even when you guys got U-turned, it was such a peaceful situation that you guys created after that. How do you guys maintain that?
You can start.
Yeah, so I think it's just having perspective, and if you can broaden your perspective from in the moment, and feeling victimized or how it's affecting you in that moment, to broadening out and just kind of seeing the whole picture and realizing, hey, we're all in a game. Everyone's going to play the game in their own way. There's no right or wrong, and U-turns are part of the game. And, one way to look at it is that if we had several teams vote for us to get U-turn, then that means that they saw us as a strong team. So let's go be a strong team and stay in it.
Also, just to not take it personal. So we were playing there's the three-dimensional game, which is at the physical level. And there's more, if you will, kind of a higher level fifth-dimensional game that's on an energetic level. And so when you are holding on to resentment, right, that's part of the energy that you're giving off. So really thinking of it as like the winner of the leg, the winner of the amazing race, they're vibrating at joy. They're vibrating at love. They're vibrating at ecstasy, right? If you were to win $1 million. So we want to be at that level. And so hanging on to any kind of resentment for someone U-turning us, it really serves us to just do what we can to forgive them as quickly as possible and move on.
Yeah, for sure. And bringing that up now, that because that doesn't happen overnight. You guys got to that point, and directly thinking it's like 15 years ago when you guys were on the first time. You had a little bit of a temper, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Marshall remembers. Yeah, so. Yeah, that column was much better for TV. It's interesting though how I've had a lot of people reach out during this season and say, wow, what an incredible transformation, 180-degree difference. And I think about it, it's like, it looks like that on TV, but really it's like a polishing. It's really like a 20% shift. You know what I mean? It's like we all have those parts in us that, allow us to get triggered for different reasons, by different things. For me, it was like my ego wanting to be right all the time and feel justified.
Ox not working.
Yeah, that's right. Or my ox being broken.
Yeah,
but then you realize, like, if you just practice not allowing that to affect you and get you into that kind of tunnel vision as easily.
Yeah.
That was really the only difference this time around, is just being able to kind of maintain that perspective and, maintain a feeling of knowing that it was in our best competitive interest to be vibrating at a higher frequency of love than a lower frequency of victim and hate and anger. And like that behooved us in the race.
Yeah.
And so if I let myself get that tunnel vision and start feeling like, oh, I'm so justified to feel angry right now, that is only going to make us race slower.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I remember Chip and Kim at one point, I guess, in one of their interviews saying, Colin and Christy will end up beating Colin and Christy, like they'll be the takedown. And ultimately, I do believe that is what happened. And so realizing that it was, okay, it's building that resilience, because just in everyday life, things happen, right? Traffic, kids, job, and how do you maintain alignment in the midst of that, right? The Amazing Race is sort of a microcosm of that microcosm, and it really heightens it all. So for us, it was a beautiful challenge to say, hey, we have a pretty good life, and we're usually able to maintain alignment in this life that we've built, but can we go back into that vortex 15 years ago? And I have to tell you, standing on the starting line, looking at everyone on that pier, and they're about to say 3, 2, 1, go, and I'm just like, what? There's no turning back. Oh my God, what have we done?
Do?
No,
I felt like that too. I'm like, oh my gosh, the competition here is stiff. Like, everyone was so good. I'm like, Vic, we're going to be out right away.
I mean, we looked around, and I remember in our first season, some of us had like all the gear and the right athletic. This time I looked around, every single team had these tiny little backpacks, hardcore clothes, and all we'd all done the same research, evidently. Like 6 of us had the same backpack. I was like, oh man, these people came to play.
And then like people we had shoelaces. I was like, we're so behind because there's like what did you guys have, the not shoelaces?
Yeah. Everyone had like Kevlar this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
I'm like, oh my God, we have shoelaces. We shouldn't be tying our shoes. We got the wrong shoes. So like you think about that stuff, and already like going against race teams, you just kind of feel like they know what's going on. And
well, you guys figured it out real quick.
Yeah, you guys figured it out.
And then right away, though, I feel like we kind of bonded, and you helped us in that first leg, and I was just like, let's do what they do,
Oh, that's super sweet. Well, it was our honor, too, and you guys were really a joy to race with.
Yeah, in many ways, you guys reminded us of our first time on the race, so it was kind of fun.
Other than with my temper. Yeah. You were the guy I was supposed to be the first time around.
and speaking of that time frame, that aside, 15 years in the difference that you guys race, how has the game changed?
Well, it's a completely different race. Mm-hmm. It's completely different. It used to be really about the travel and who could get there first to the city. Yeah. That was really probably 60 or 70% of what determined the outcome of that leg. And, back then, if you finished a leg in first, you were pretty much guaranteed a safe passage through at least the next leg.
Okay.
And because you were going to get on the first flight, or you were going to, so you could really keep that momentum. And so this time around, the fact that pretty much all of us were on the same flight, pretty much every single leg, and then they would, and I get it, they don't want us to look like crazy people trying to cut in line through customs and all that. So they would get us all through customs, and when they would line everyone up, and count down from 10, and we're all going to come busting out of the airport. I mean, you want to talk about stress? It's like the Hunger Games. Every single time, I'm looking left and right, I'm like, one less team here this time. Here we go. Man, it was hardcore.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I think that was, like you said, the most high-strung I've ever been in my life. And then we have where we're supposed to go. We're trying to pull people from the airport.
Yes.
Or where are the taxis around here?
Yeah, the legs were so much more compressed. All the teams were together. Back in our race, you might see somebody at the same challenge as you at the same time, but that was kind of rare. Now it's like we were all at the challenges together, like shoulder to shoulder. I mean, Dubai, I think the difference between first place and last place was 12 or 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was quick.
And that's why I think it's so rare to see like a team dominate, because it's like every leg you're all starting off together, and every leg, every team is very competitive.
And also, I don't remember running for a mile to 2 miles straight sprints ever in season 5.
That's right. In fact, this time around, our backpacks at least doubled in size.
Your
from
backpack.
My
Mine
backpack.
was smaller.
Yeah, that's right. But, we were like, it didn't really matter having tiny backpacks when we did the race. So bring whatever you want, Christy. I'll just throw it in my bag. No big deal. And then we end up in these 1.5 mile long runs in Switzerland. I'm like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have packed so heavy.
Yeah, there was a lot of, babe, give me your backpack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And
us in Vietnam, you're carrying Nick's bag, I'm carrying Chrissy's bag. I'm like,
and then Chris is carrying
Brett's bag.
I mean, honestly, they didn't show that, but I thought this is going to be such great TV.
Yeah, that would have been gold. Like,
Yes.
give me your backpack. It was so fun.
I do have to give you props, though, in that leg in Switzerland when we did all race for the 2 miles. So there was what everyone called Lao gut. Most of it, the crew got it. When we were in Lao, there was sometimes you're traveling, you
it
pick
was
up.
pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Colin, who's carrying my backpack, racing for 2 miles, has Lao gut in the midst of
that whole train ride and that whole 24 hours leading up to that and about 24 hours after that was pretty extreme in all regards. But we didn't want to show weakness, so I had to pretend like I wasn't sick.
Yeah,
and
I didn't know.
Every 5 minutes I'm running off to the bathroom. It was rough. And then we get there and do that run. It was probably good to sweat it out, but man, when I was standing there waiting for you guys to all do the canyon swing, I was struggling pretty hard.
Yeah. I wish they showed how hard that run was because just everybody bolting off the train, and I mean I was just following who I was first, hoping they're going the right way. You know what I mean? Because if we're going the wrong way, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would have done.
Well, and I think it was also a testament to how competitive this season was, because at the airport getting ready to go there, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. We're going to go find a place that sells computers. We're going to get online.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Google Maps, and I'm going to, do Street View, and I'm going to see exactly, commit it to memory, right? We get into the computer store. There's 4 other teams doing exactly the same thing. I'm like, okay, everyone has figured this. Everyone is memorizing what the route looks like on Street View. I'm like, these people came to play. This is serious.
We would always compare notes with you guys, too.
Yes.
Is this what you got, too? Is that the city?
Right.
And is that the road? Are you sure?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I was going to ask you guys. So, again, I like comparing your first season to this season. And after you guys finished that season, did you guys continue watching the show, or did you expecting to come back, or did you just kind of leave it in the past and wow, that was a great experience, but it is where it is?
So watching the season was very difficult because while we were on the season, I could tell by the questions, you run the leg and then they interview you, and I could tell by the events. It might be a 3-day leg where we're 12 hours ahead of second place team in Egypt, and most of the questions were about a 10-minute argument we had 2 days prior. And so I looked at Colin and I said, look, you're the villain, right? He's like, me?
I'm like, no way.
No.
For sure not.
What do you mean? I go, oh, yeah, you are. And, be aware of that and, get your temper in check. But you made for great TV because, the one thing is you just let it all out there and still do the same thing. But watching it back was even harder. So we watched it, and then we did not watch Amazing Race for 15 years.
Wow.
So we watched Amazing Race for the first time, our season, a year ago, just over a year ago, with our boys who are Achilles, who's 12, Cruz, who's 7, and we thought, okay, now it's time. We're ready. Let's watch it. It's a great family show. And it just brought us back into the vortex of Amazing Race. And now my ox is broken scene was funny. That's how we could really tell, oh, wow, we're really different people. Who are those people? And we were in Jackson Hole snowboarding, spring break with our boys. We're on the mountain, and I look at Colin. I said, you know what? We should go do that again. That was really fun. And we texted a casting director, and lo and behold, we had no idea. 3 weeks later, they emailed us, and they were already putting together this all-star cast. And they said, if you're interested in coming, we'll have you. And we leave in June. So
talk about the universe coming together, right?
Yeah, it was, we were like, wow, we didn't know that was going to happen that fast. That's crazy.
And the boys were already set to hang with grandma and go to sleepaway camp all of June. So we didn't even have to worry about childcare during that time. It was just sort of like, here you go.
Wow.
Like, we're going. Let's do this.
And I guess, so having said what you said, do you think your first season was harder so far than this season in terms of how it was set up? Or is it because we are bunched up together and everything is so close, this becomes a little bit more difficult?
It's different. You know, season 5, the airport strategy was very stressful. And this season, I don't know if it was for production, but the rest periods were longer. In season 5, it was very strict. Rest periods were either 12 hours or 24 hours. And often you were sleeping on the ground in an airport or in a tent in the desert. You were not in a night. This time around, we were in a nice hotel.
Yeah, yep.
We were eating good food in those rest periods. I came home. I remember my sister. She's like, "Well, you didn't lose any weight." You know, last time we came back, we were gaunt. Super skinny. You could tell we hadn't eaten that much.
The legs were 3 days, 4 days long last time. We traveled over 75,000 miles, more than 3 times the miles we traveled on this race.
Oh my God.
So from a endurance standpoint, the first time around was more grueling to your system because we were just, like she said, the vast majority of the rest stops were 12 hours. And that included your interview time, waiting for your interview. So you might get 8 hours in your hotel room. And so, but the leg and the stress was higher this time because it was so much more compressed, because we were against all these incredibly competitive teams side by side every leg.
Yes, I mean, we were the 3rd oldest team on the race. So that was also just looking around going, this is a bunch of 20-year-olds here that were racing.
You guys did not race like the 3rd oldest team, I'll tell you what. I was intimidated to the max, and Colin looks better than me right now.
Yeah, I think
Not
one of
a
the
chance.
first questions we got was, so how does it feel that Colin and Christy are way more in shape than you guys? I'm like... Well,
who asked that?
Yeah, no, the producer. Like, it was like a question, like, yeah, I know I'm out of shape. Like, running, I had like 4 days to prep. And
you guys found out right before the show,
yeah,
right?
And it was just, it was obviously bad, but I was like, is it that bad? Like, you're asking me this already day one? I'm like, oh my God.
No, that's those head games that producers like to play.
Exactly.
Well, I guess I will, is anybody has any questions? I will. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So, Colin, I have a question for you. Do you guys...
This is Marshall from our first season, by the way. Pizza Brothers. They were awesome.
Do you guys think that if you didn't have the temper that you had in season 1, that you would have been asked back again? You were amazing for TV, right?
Yeah, I think
so you were
unlikely.
Great. Unlikely.
Yeah, I think it all worked out exactly as it was supposed to. We wouldn't have had the self-growth and self-realization, any of that, and or had they not shown it that way. But yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, probably not.
I feel like I'm on a talk show walking to the crowd.
Here he goes.
Hey, it's Jason. What's your secret for how y'all both approached the U-turns or the roadblocks? I mean, it's very clear y'all just killed those. And I don't know if there's a secret as to how you approached it, or whether it's mental, physical, or whatever. It was very quick for y'all to get in and out. I mean, as fans, it's something I noticed.
So what we were wanting to do, and this is what a practice of meditation can allow you to do, you're training your brain to go from beta, which is where most of us are in our high activity, into an alpha brainwave, and a lot of people call that flow state. So this is what extreme athletes, they get into this kind of state where it's sort of a non-thinking, okay, and it's more timeless and spaceless. So things sort of slow down for you, and you are able to get through. And really, the U-turn was a blessing because we had we thought we were under the radar. So we were not necessarily trying to get first when we realized at the U-turn vote that, here we are. That's what kicked us into high gear, and we really activated that flow state and then started maintaining that for the rest of the race.
And we actually did the cow detour twice. So we did 3 detours that leg.
Yeah, they don't
cow disappeared.
Yeah, the cow ran off into the woods.
Yes.
Which is why we were doing it with them after they had done the speed bump.
And I think we took your cow.
Oh, no. When that happened,
well, that cow was broken. So.
Yeah, that cow was broken. Because when that cow ran off into the woods, Colin looked at me and said, "Do we go get the cow?" I'm like, "No, we make a new headdress, start all over."
The funny thing is, Nicole wanted to walk the cow, and I said, whatever, you can walk the cow. Cow does the same thing, walks into the forest, and she's like, do it. And I was like, no. Grabbed it and just walked her back.
You're coming with me, bub.
Yeah. All right, and I got one more question. I'll get right back here. Get you guys on the next people.
My name is Max. Christy, you said Colin was the villain of season 5. Who was the villain this season?
Ooh, I hope there's no drama.
On the spot.
I think that the way the story unfolded, the villain, I think you have Eliza and Corinne sort of start as like a villain, and then that sort of shifts when they're gone into Rachel and Alyssa. And then as they leave, it's the Afghanimals. Happy birthday, Nicole!
But I think, there's no real villain this time around because everyone, even when they're being quote unquote the villain, they're laughing, they're having fun. It's like very much like just part of the game,
Yeah. All right, so we will take one more question.
Okay, first I just want to say I'm a big fan of y'all's, and I have been since season 5.
Oh, cool,
and y'all
thanks.
are The Amazing Race and reality TV legends. And, okay, so my question, me and my friend call each other Mirna and Shmirna.
That's awesome.
And I'm wondering, Marshall's a part of this question, too, because y'all both called him that. So I want to know, I've always wanted to know, who came up with that?
Marshall and Lance. Mirna and Shmirna. Yes.
He came up with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just always wanted to know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were actually the villains of our season.
I think I was careful not to say Mirna and Shmirna because, again, I kind of already knew there was sort of this Colin Mirna camp. But, yes, the Mirna Shmirna came from the Pizza Brothers.
Well, thank you guys so much. If you guys don't know, if it wasn't for them, this event, and Travelocity, obviously, but if it wasn't for them, this event wouldn't have been put together. So big round of applause.
If it wasn't for all of you guys. That's right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so I'll get the next people out here. Last but not least, and just so you know, people were brought out here in no specific order, so that's not telling who's going to win. All right, so don't think...
Right.
Is it going okay?
Yeah. All right, give it up for Tyler and Korey. Right in the middle. There you go.
Hello. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
What up? Hi, everyone.
What's up? So welcome to Coco Caliente, my fellow Michiganders.
Yeah. Yes. Ow.
Guess I'm a transplant, but I guess now I'm from Michigan.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I guess I'll start backwards, right? So this episode that we have today, right? We are finishing in Michigan, right? That's where the finish line is. How does it feel for you guys, right? Going to Michigan and like thinking that that's where the show's going to end, but there's this thing called the hometown curse. Or is there fire in your belly that, I'm going to get this, no problem?
Is this no spoilers?
No spoilers.
Got it. Good to ask. Korey, go take it away.
Being a fan of the show, I knew that they had never went to Detroit as like a final leg situation. So as you get closer to the end of the race, you're always kind of thinking, I mean, at least for us, like what city are we going to go to? Having finished in LA the first time we raced, and being a fan of the show, I knew they had already done San Francisco, where I live, on season 30. So we were kind of hoping, like, do we think they will ever go to Michigan? Like, is that even a possibility? Like, you never really know.
It was very bizarre, though, thinking, okay, if it's Michigan, our families are close to that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a world where we could bump into someone at the mall. I don't know. Who knows?
But it's I mean, being from Michigan, it's like we'd been to Detroit. It's not where we're from, per se.
Yeah.
But it's like, I sure know that Detroit airport in and out. That's an advantage. I don't know.
No, definitely. I mean, I just, just thinking that it's Michigan, I don't know, it just feels like it's nerve-wracking, right?
But also for me, I would say, like, yeah, we go to the airport a lot, but I couldn't tell you a lot of the things in Detroit. But when I was in high school, we did our own Amazing Race as like a group of friends, and so we did like Amazing Race Okemos, Michigan, and I knew that back to front. So if it were going to be Podunk Okemos, Michigan as the finale, I could really turn that out, but it was not that.
So are you as much of a super fan of Amazing Race as Korey?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a thing I feel like so many people grew up with. It was a staple for me between Survivor and Big Brother. Big Brother was always my number one, though. So when I mean, that's really what Korey and I bonded over when we first met. We went to a Big Brother casting call together back in college, and
oh wow!
So like that was what we would watch all the time in the dorms, and Julie Chen is our everything, and so when we started at the starting line, we were legitimately starstruck by everyone.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah. Whereas some people were like, "Oh, cool," other racers. We were like, oh my God, we're in the presence of greatness.
No, I remember Phil saying they didn't show it at the starting line, but he called me out and was like, Korey, I hear you and Tyler are like the only ones who know every other contestant here. And I'm like, well, don't expose me. But I'm like, I have seen all of these people on Big Brother. Yeah. I've seen them on Survivor. I've seen them race before. It was like a dream come true for me.
And I guess just floating the idea out there, on a side note, would you guys ever do Big Brother?
I would for sure do Big Brother or Survivor. I've been a fan of all three of the shows my whole life.
I'm putting it out there. I would love to watch Korey on Survivor. I don't need Korey on Big Brother because I've already seen like the 24/7 live feeds of Korey. We have lived together. It's not. I don't want more of that. So I would love to see him on an island suffering. And me come and be the like family member that like, and he's like, I wanted somebody else. You got me. Yeah.
And talking back at the starting line, Phil mentioned your muscles.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that something? So did you train like hardcore, like coming into the race? Because I know you're a big time runner, and I mean I don't know. Your even biceps now are bigger than mine.
Thank you. No, I did not train. After the first time we did the race, I feel like the first time we went into the race, we really were like training for that. And I think when we got home, we just never stopped being active. I think we just maintained that and kept it up, never thinking, oh, well, maybe someday we'll come back on the race and be more prepared. Like, no, it was just I had happened to never stop that. The race, the first time, really just put me on a trajectory of like actually caring more about being more fit and more active, and luckily it stayed for the second time.
Yeah, I wish it would have stayed with us. I've gained 6 pounds since then, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, the second time I went on the race, I gained weight. The first time I went on the race, I lost weight because you eat a lot of you eat what you can get.
Yeah,
you're not trying to be healthy. So like after a long day of whatever, you're like, yeah, you know what? I do deserve a cheeseburger, but that's like every day.
Yeah,
you don't deserve it every day.
And you guys have had really good snacks. You guys always had.
We
would be like
beef jerky.
Yeah.
You had it. He
and like
packed
these
it.
little gummy bears. I'm like, oh, I wonder
the
if they like
majority
me
of our
enough
bags
to give
were
I mean, that's
protein
why
bars.
That's why we didn't get any votes in the U-turn vote, because we've been like giving snacks to everybody all along.
Oh wait, why did you guys vote for us?
Oh, this is
because we hate you. No, I'm kidding.
I think it was definitely a good strategy. If it's
That was hard, and once we found out it was like an out loud vote, like I was ready to vote. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to send people home. But when they said it was out loud, you saw my reaction in the episode. It was like, I don't want to expose kind of where our alliances fell. We had been working so much with Colin and Christy the whole show. They didn't really show it a whole lot this season. We voted for you because we knew you were a threat.
Yeah.
We had been worried about Colin and Christy, you guys, and Team Fun for a very long time. We had a lot of discussions with the Afghanimals about the co-ed teams, is what we kind of referred to you all as, and just knowing how strong you were. I mean, you guys had so many second places in a row. You really, as far as the Survivor and Big Brother teams, kind of excelled the most, and obviously that's true because you're still here going into the Final Four. So we just really recognized how much of a threat you were, and it killed me because we spent so much time at airports playing euchre and like doing Michigan
never even
things.
held a grudge against you guys. Though. We like forgave you in 2 seconds.
I know.
But when Leo and Jamal, you turned us Victor's like they're dead too.
Well, I mean, it was, and for us also, it was thinking that you already had a speed bump too, and so just like logically, when we were thinking about it, it was like, okay, well, if somebody has to be punished by us, like, it makes sense logically.
Yeah.
That's how I thought about it.
We were begging Chris and Brett to vote for you guys instead of the Rileys.
The truth comes out.
I know. I'm going to tell all my secrets now, but I was like, Brett, Nicole, and Victor.
Thank God they didn't.
Honestly, it all happened so fast that watching it back, I was like, oh, I don't remember any of this. Because it was like the quickest, and you had to make a decision. You couldn't even talk about it. It was like, I was like, oh, they voted for them? Oh, nobody voted for us.
I thought, and I honestly thought we all got to vote twice.
I did. I 1000% thought that exact same thing. The way he explained it made it sound like we were all going to go around and vote twice.
Well, if there wasn't two clear winners, then we would. So that's why Victor's like, well, let's vote for the Afghanimals first, then we'll vote for the Riley sisters second. I was like,
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention. Korey was in charge.
Race.
I was eating beef jerky.
And so you guys didn't want to vote for the Afghanimals because they were like the guy team, and you guys were kind of like they weren't.
I mean, at that
would have been a good time to.
At the point, I know. I mean, watching it back, I would have rather it been the Afghanimals versus the Rileys, but we thought the Afghanimals were a weak team at that point too. I mean, sure they're
downstairs. It's okay.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was not in our agenda to vote for a weak. I mean, for a weak team because it's like it's a waste and it is, I don't know.
Yeah.
And their track record at the time was
they won the first 2 legs, but then they had been a roller coaster and like scraping the bottom of the barrel ever since. So we were happy to work with them anytime they wanted to give us advice. I'm like, yeah, come with us.
And we only say weak based on statistics, not on heart.
Yeah. So, I mean, and at that point, it was halfway through the show, everyone there was a strong team.
Yeah, no, and that goes beyond saying. I mean, the game is intense, far more intense than Big Brother, I think, by far, and very stressful. And so, do you guys, comparing your previous season to this one, do you think this was like more physical or more difficult? And even you being a runner, I mean, having to do the runs that we did and sprints and all that stuff, I was dry heaving all the time.
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys compare that?
I feel like every day I was reaching my limit of the second time we did the race. Every leg felt harder than the last. To the point where at the end, we would get back to the room and I'm like, don't talk to me. Don't look at me. I don't want to move. If the room service comes, don't even wake me. I'm like exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, it was, we said it the whole race through how much harder it was the second time. And I know a lot of the Big Brother and Survivor teams kind of said the race teams had an advantage coming back. But I think it was just a testament to how strong the Survivor and Big Brother teams were because every day we got back to the hotel room, we were kind of like, can we do this? Can we make it to the final 3 again? Like, were we just good the first time? And we were, every day it was just harder and harder, like Tyler was saying, especially the Croatia leg into the Amsterdam leg into the London leg, which you'll see tonight. All 3 of those legs seemed harder than any leg that we had done the first time we raced.
And emotionally, I think we were really like flying high the first time. We were having so much fun. Things were going our way. We were like, this is great. We're having a great time. The second time, we were like, well, we suck. And they were like, sure, this is a great experience, but like, we're terrible at everything, is what it felt like, just because everyone was so good at everything. If you messed up like the tiniest little thing, you could be out.
Yeah.
Whereas, because no teams were messing up anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the second time, way harder.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
and then you guys went Super Saiyan Beast mode and got 4 first places.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on
Don't
here?
mind us.
Yeah, no, it was. We said that a lot. The first half of the race really kind of took some time for us to find our footing again. And then after the Uganda leg, we just kind of hit a stride, and we're like, okay, we can do this again.
And Korey, you're by far the king of puns.
No.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Let the record show.
No. But he'll steal people's jokes. He'll repeat them after them, but into the camera clearer.
Yeah.
So, like, they're like, oh, that's a better one. We should just use that.
Yeah.
No, he's funny, I guess.
And on a separate note, now people, obviously you guys weren't there to see, but literally every country you went to, you had a fan from your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It was insane. We'd be somewhere in Uganda or Japan or anywhere, and they'd be like, oh my God, can I get a picture? But just honestly, how does it feel having that reach, having that, on people around the world?
It is bizarre. I mean, it's something I never dreamed of having. It's like it was such an accidental career, and now it's like a thing, and I didn't really get a grasp of it until I really went on the race the first time, and we were in random places doing random things, and then the second time when we would be in countries, they'd be like, why are you here again? Or why are you here? Why do you have that fanny pack? Are you on the race again? I'm like, I know nothing. You know nothing. You'll see soon. Yeah, it's incredible. And I mean, to do it with Korey, who I've done YouTube with for 10 years now, it was getting to be able to see all of those people with somebody that gets it too, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and I really admire you guys, because you guys, in the face of adversity, aka Dubai or Uganda, you guys really shine through, and having that platform and showing people, everything. I think that's awesome. I really think that's really cool, you guys. So yeah.
And thanks for all the help. So you guys helped us a lot on the
Yeah.
race. Like, they don't show it, but they're like, last episode, they're like, turn around, you got U-turn. Like, get your butt back there. We're like, oh my gosh. We totally skipped the U-turn board and didn't even see it. And Korey, saved our butts.
Yeah.
Well, Michigan people.
Yeah. They're nice.
Yeah, we literally, we were riding the bikes. We were so excited because
they looked so happy.
We thought we caught up. We're like, we caught up to them.
I was like, oh, girl.
I'm like, the U-turn board's back there and your picture's for sure on it. But it wasn't us.
Yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow, turning back around. But
happy birthday. Not me. That's a quote.
So going into this finale, last leg of the race, what team are you guys most intimidated by?
I mean, it's honestly kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, all 4 of these teams going into it are so strong. Every single one of the teams left has beaten us at a time, and we've beaten them at a time. So I think the first time we raced, we kind of thought more about the end and who we wanted to go against. And this time we kind of thought, listen, anybody can win on that last day. We just have to make it to the final 3 and hope that we have a good day on the last day if we make it there. We were literally threatened by all 3 of you. I mean, I know I was just talking trash about the Afgans, but they beat us many times, and they are such a strong team too, where we were like, we just got to make it to the final 3. That was a big goal of ours coming back, was being able to prove that we could do it again. One team had only ever made it to the final 3 twice, which was Brendan and Rachel. And yeah, we knew it was a huge feat, and that was just a goal of ours from the beginning.
That's awesome. Well, and we'll finish up with some questions here. Yep. Okay. State your name and go ahead with your question.
Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi. On 2 episodes ago, whenever you 2 teamed up on the memory, did it cross either of your minds to tell it incorrectly, or was it never even?
I think he should have. You could have.
I don't know. It's so funny. I don't think it crossed my mind. I mean, it was so tough. It was a situation where we knew we were in first and second, and I saw a lot of people comment, why would you want to work with them? And I knew we could outrun them to the mat at the end. And I knew, like, I was hoping it was like go to the finish line. And yeah, I wanted us both to advance. I wanted us both to get out of there before another team showed up. And yeah, a lot of people were like, why'd you switch your answer? Nicole had it wrong. And I'm like, I wanted us to progress together. I was more worried about her maybe lying about one of the slots, but it never once crossed my mind
either. And I think, like, it's weird for me, but for running the race, I never wanted first. Like, yeah, I wanted it, but I wasn't going to, like, burn bridges for a first place, because what is that going to do for you? I just wanted first in the last leg, and that's what my sight was on. It wasn't like, I was so happy with second places. I mean, I messed Vic up when he was doing those drums. They didn't show this, but like, he had it right, and I was like, no, switch it. So he really got first, and then it got stolen. And I was, like, cool with it, because I was like, hey, we're not a threat, you know? Like, so I guess I never, when I'm at the top of the pack, I'm fine with it. Even if it's first, second, third, I don't need, like, that first for validation. But, I mean, it would have been cool to win a trip.
Yep. All right, second question. Name and question.
Hi, guys. My name is Megan.
Hey, Megan.
Hi, Megan. So since you are fans of Big Brother and Survivor, I'm wondering, outside of the Amazing Race cast, because they had some of the best of both worlds there, all three of the worlds, who are both of your favorite players off of Survivor and off of Big Brother?
That were, like, on this cast or just in general?
This cast.
Corey's going to be so much better at this than me.
Off of this cast.
I mean, I will grab you outside and tell you 100 names. I've literally watched every season. As far as Survivor goes, I've always loved Sari. I think she's a great character. I've loved watching her play. Parvati's great. Sandra's great. Big Brother, Ty's great. Big Brother is crazy because so many of the people that I loved were actually cast.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I loved Nicole and Victor. Brittany and Janelle were two of my absolute favorites ever. Yeah. I think we were both starstruck with all the Big Brother cast when we walked in that first day and you see everyone. We were like, oh my God, this Big Brother cast. And even Rachel, like, this cast is insane with the, like, Big Brother great players that they were able to get.
I love Danielle Donato. I like, just like, when it comes to Big Brother, I feel like we always rooted for, like, the strong women and the gays. So anybody that falls under that, no.
Awesome. Love y'all.
Love ya.
And yep, here we go.
Hi, I'm Abby.
Hi, Abby.
Was there anything you didn't expect about racing the second time?
Didn't expect a double U-turn vote.
Yeah. Not really. I mean, when you come into it the second time, like, we knew, okay, well, there's a lot more running than you think. Like, that to me was, like, the biggest thing, the biggest advantage is knowing just how much running there's going to be. The first time I was not as homesick as I was the second time. The second time, I feel like I was...
I think we were both more homesick the second time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like you were. Because you had a boyfriend the first time. I had the boyfriend the second time. So the whole second time I was, like, crying every night and being like, I hope we're still together when I get home. And I was, like, going through it. I was not expecting that.
I think it was just that you're used, you know what to expect the second time around as far as racing, but also as far as downtime. There's a lot of downtime at the airport. There's a lot of downtime in the hotel rooms. And the first time it's kind of, like, exciting and you don't really know. And then the second time you're like, oh, we're in a hotel room for 24 hours and we're not going to leave or see anyone other than each other. And those days definitely felt longer the second time. Especially with him crying.
We did bring wigs both seasons, and they got a lot of use in the hotel rooms. That was, if I could give advice to anybody that's ever going to run the race, you're bored in your hotel room, bring wigs. Makes your day.
Last question here.
Hi, guys. My name is Nick.
Hey, Nick.
Hello.
My question is kind of twofold. First off, did y'all feel you were kind of the favorites going into the final based on how many wins you had? And then second, were you both surprised at how well y'all did this year and how many wins you did accumulate?
I would say
I definitely did not think... you can't gauge when you're in it, like, who people are going to love, especially because, like, who you interact with on the race is not necessarily always who is in the confessionals in who like America falls in love with. Not that there's like a big difference in personality, but like sometimes people really shine in like personality in their confessional, and they're like funny and witty in ways that you might not see day to day on the race. So you really don't have a gauge as to like who America is going to love, and we were just really kind of focused on ourselves. I think I don't really think we were ever really like thinking about fan favorite or anything like that. When you're in it, you're just like, I just want to survive. You don't think.
And I think for your other question about as far as like doing well, I really truly think we did kind of like struggle the first half of the race, and up until the Uganda leg happened, I think that's when I remember going into that Uganda leg, and Tyler and I said that morning at the airport, we're going to win this leg. And one of the producers was like, that's the first time you guys have said that this time around. And that sounds like the old Tyler and Korey that we know. And we hadn't really said that until that episode. And then, to kind of hit our stride right in the middle of the race as we did, I never took any day for granted. I was always surprised when we got first. I knew we had done so well the first time we raced, but I never expected to get 4 firsts in a row, to kind of finish in first and second these last 6 legs in a row only. It's just, you never really know. We thought we were a strong team, and we hoped that we could prove it again. But you just truly never know. Everyone was so strong this second time around.
And Korey was like the best teammate ever. He can do everything. He's so strong. He's smart.
Except for dance.
Except dance. So I said, as long as we don't have to dance, I feel confident the second time around. And no dancing.
Well, thank you, Tyler and Korey, so much.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome. And you can stay seated right there because I'm just going to close us out. Unless, Nicole, you got anything?
No.
Thank you guys so much. You can listen to Coco Caliente right here as we're sitting here. But you can also listen on Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. Check us out at www.cococaliente.com. You can also listen there. And thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys
us out.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.